Do we just let the music play for 4 hours? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
I added a second verse here.
Yeah, same as the first?
It's same as the first, but yes.
Yes, I, Henry VIII, I am.
It's like Mungo Jerry in the summertime. If anyone's ever listened to that song, it's just half played twice. Listen
right?
to it. About halfway through, about a minute and a half in, it just restarts and plays the exact same thing.
Should we do the entire 4 hours with this music in the background?
I'm David Fatty.
All right, it's the Zone on a Thursday. Just keep it going. The Zone on a Thursday right here on Sports Radio 810
It's too
WHB.
loud, Jason. It's too
Jason,
loud.
am I too loud? Sorry. Zone on a Thursday, Sports Radio 810 WHB. We appreciate everybody watching, listening, the patrons that are being a part of this show for the next 4 hours. We will talk with Kent Swanson coming up an hour from now, talking some NFL football. At noon, it'll be Myron Medcalf from ESPN. We'll talk some college basketball with Myron, ESPN radio host, get his thoughts on the NCAA tournament and sports or leisure coming up at 1 o'clock and keep you up to date with everything that's going on with the Masters today. It's four-time major champion Rory with his 11th shot at a green jacket. We'll see if he can come away victorious this year. One of the favorites to win, of course, along with Scottie Scheffler. High expectations for the live golfers, what they could do this year as well. And maybe Justin Thomas, one of the best golfers on the tour, can get that confidence back.
2017.
Can get that confidence back that he had at one point. Maybe this is his time to win. Scheffler at the Flowering Peach right now on the third. He's already a shot under. It is a Thursday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. I actually wouldn't mind. I mean, it's kind of relaxing. It's kind of soothing, you know?
I was just drinking my coffee.
Yeah, that makes sense.
delicious.
Yeah, well, it's a small sample size so far today. Does that count for, for the Masters today if I say small sample size through just 3 holes right now? Scheffler's 1 under through 3. It's a small sample size, though. Large sample size for his career of how good he is.
Yeah.
Large sample size of Rory at Augusta, unfortunately for him. So we'll see. We'll talk some tournament. Justin Thomas is on the third as well, playing in the group with Scottie Scheffler. Flowering Peach is where they're at right now. He's sitting at even. So we will talk with Kent Swanson coming up an hour from now. KC Sports Network. We'll get his thoughts on the NFL draft. Hey, the KCSN draft guide dropped 3 days ago. And I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of the Beast. And I'm a big fan of the KCSN draft guide. Those are the 2 resources that I use more than anything when it comes to the NFL draft. The Beast, I think, is the most comprehensive draft guide with Dane Brugler. And putting that together, it's awesome, awesome stuff. That's for the overall draft, just in general of what the opinions are. And then the KCSN draft guide is specific to the Chiefs. The pros, the cons, and then how the player fits specifically with the Chiefs. Every single prospect that they write about has a how he fits with the Chiefs. Every single one of them in the draft guides. We'll talk with Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, and each of the writers have their, quote, their guys, like Kent's guys. And what I love about it, it's not like Ashton Genty. He's my guy, Tony was my guy. He's my guy. It's a best player in the draft. My guy. No, not really the case. No, like Kent's quote-unquote guys are 3 fourth-rounders and a second-rounder are his guys.
So realistic possibilities.
Yeah, okay, these are the guys I really like. Like, let me tell you about this prospect that you may not be paying attention to that, man, I'm just a fan of what this guy brings to the table. Everybody has their draft crush as it gets closer and closer to the NFL draft. And I usually develop those in the last couple of weeks of the draft. And that's what's happening 2 weeks from today is when we will be watching the first round of the NFL draft and see if the Chiefs will be selecting somebody that night or not. If they will be trading back and get more picks. That would be my preference, of course, depending on who's on the board at that particular time.
Who wants Jackson Dart? 5 years of Jackson Dart.
Looks like
we're selling.
Number 26, the Rams. Looks
Jalen
like
Milroe?
looks like the Rams at number 26 might be. That seems to be the popular choice now.
It's coming out. They wanted Bo Nix, so you're probably right on that one.
Yeah. How do you get the 2025 version of Bo Nix? It's Jackson Dart. Why is that? I don't know. There's an X in the name.
Went to a Mississippi school.
Absolute Mississippi school at some point.
Felt like they've played for a decade.
They feel like they're the same player, even though they may not actually play the same. It just feels like they're the same. I don't know. It's like
SEC school. My bad.
No, you're good. But that's yeah, you're right. SEC, because one was Auburn and one's Ole Miss. Ole Miss in the
Jackson
Grove.
Dart is a phenomenal football name, though.
Oh, it's a great Bo Nix as well.
Yeah, both
Bo
those
Nix.
guys.
Bo Nix is a great football or baseball name. Like playing center field, batting third, Bo Nix. Today for the Cleveland Guardians. And also quarterbacking today is Bo Nix or Jackson Dart. Also, both of them are great baseball or football names.
Imagine
honestly.
going to your local dive bar. You're playing darts in like a dart league.
Oh my God! And he shows up at
Jackson Dart, and you're like, okay,
what's your last name?
Yeah, what's your real name?
You're not going to hustle me, buddy. All right, what's your last name? No, it's Dart. Sure, and that guy's name is Bobby Baseball. His real last name is Witt. All right.
There's Jeff Beer over there. Exactly.
Yeah, and this scrubby ass bullpen guy's named Blewett. No, it actually is named Blewett, and he's okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
That guy's name Throws BBs. Middle name Throws, last name BB. Related to Don. Jeff Throws BBs on the mound today. You know what? Might as well just call that guy Joe Ryan. Because when it's against the Royals, he is maybe the greatest pitcher in the history of baseball when he faces off against the Royals. Have you seen Joe Ryan's numbers versus the Royals? Have you seen them? I'm asking you, Sterling, Holmes,
yes.
Dylan Michaels. Have you seen them specifically against the Royals, what he has done?
Have not.
Yes.
Okay. He has started 9 games in his career against the Royals. Now, we don't even have to look at how many the Twins have won. All of them. His record is 7-0. Specifically, Joe Ryan's record against the Royals is 7-0 in 9 starts. 55 1/3 innings pitched. He's given up a total of 8 earned runs. He has a 1.3 ERA against the Royals, a .76 whip against the Royals, 59 strikeouts, 11 walks, damn near 6-1. And what about at Kauffman Stadium? What about when you say Joe Ryan against the Royals at the K? Well, let me tell you, you're also undefeated. He's also 4-0, 30 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. At the K against the Royals, Joe Ryan has a .9 ERA and a .7 whip. He's the greatest pitcher in the world when he sees the Royals, whether it's in Minnesota or it is at Kauffman or it's in Egypt. It doesn't matter. The Royals and Joe Ryan is as big of a mismatch as we've seen in baseball. Sorry, Seth Lugo, you got the short straw. You were going up against Sandy Koufax versus the worst lineup in the history of baseball, because that's what it looks like when Joe Ryan faces the Royals.
So Joe Ryan signed a 1-year, $3 million contract with the Twins. The Royals should have given him 1 for 4.
1 for infinity, just so he never has to pitch against them.
Well, and he's
in
so
the
good
division.
When he pitches at the K.
Well, it's at the K against the
Against
Royals.
the Royals.
Yeah. Especially right now, the Royals lineup, how they're going.
Yes.
So it's a little bit different.
I would take those my chances of Joe Ryan for
100%.
1 for 5.
100%. I'd give him 2 for 20. What the hell? I mean, if he's going to pitch anything like that. Is he even free agent eligible? Like, is he still in arbitration, right? 'Cause his rookie year was like 22. Right? Is that why it's 1 for 5? It's because it's probably arbitration.
1 for 3 is actually
1 for 3. That's what I mean.
is.
It's probably arbitration. For him
Yeah,
at 1 for
arbitration.
3. Yeah.
He has 2 more years of arbitration. He is not a free agent until
so
28.
Yeah, and you're going to have to pay. You'd have to give something up pretty nice to be able to trade for him because he's really, really good. But yeah, 9 starts, 7-0, 1.3 ERA, .76 WHIP, and at Kauffman Stadium, 5 starts, 4-0, .9 ERA, .7 WHIP. He has given up 3 earned runs in 30 innings. And all of 0 last night against the Royals. And again, sorry, Seth Lugo, you got the short straw. And we talked about it on Monday with Joel Penfield when I asked him about, how you feel about the Twins series. And he's like, I feel good about the Twins series except for Wednesday. That Joe Ryan's going on the mound because the Royals cannot defeat him. It's one of the best bets in baseball. Is if Joe Ryan's matched up against the Royals, just put money on the Minnesota Twins. I would say that, next time that happens. And we'll see which pitcher draws the short straw if the Royals face up. He typically has 3 starts a year versus the Royals, unfortunately. because he didn't have any starts against the Royals in 22. So, and now he's got 9 starts, so it's actually more. So it's 23, 24, and 1 start this year. So you're looking at about 4 starts per year against the Royals, unfortunately. Good God. They need to stop facing him that much, man. Can somebody, like, I don't know, like sprain his ankle or something? Like,
whoa.
Only for 1 day.
Oh.
Only for 1 day or 2 days.
Oh.
I'm not rooting. No, it's just like
Well,
for
you
2 days.
kind of root for it.
Well, I didn't root for it. I just said, can somebody do that? I wouldn't be. No, that's bad. I'm just saying for like 48 hours. That's it. A 48-hour bug. Accidentally cough on him. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. You know? That's just a 48-hour bug. Or if he's pitching the final day of the series, 24-hour bug. Just a little stomach bug. Just a little one. A little,
Sleep on your neck wrong.
It's a little sleep on the neck wrong.
Oh, man.
Bad pillow pillow in the hotel.
Not firm enough.
Bad pillow in the hotel. And what I can't stand is I am very particular about pillows. Okay, I've had one pillow for the last 6 years, and it's the greatest pillow, and it was like $250.
Wow.
But it's
like a rich guy over here.
No, dude, I obviously had a really, really bad neck injury that almost had surgery on, and for 2 years couldn't really move my neck, couldn't really do much. So I had to have a particular pillow, and it is the greatest pillow ever. And how many years later, it's still in pristine shape. Nothing different about it from the day I bought it. And I hate going to hotels because they have all those different pillows, and I'll try all 4 of them, and none of them come even close. And I wake up the next day, like at the Final Four, Thursday morning, Friday morning, I'm like, I feel like crap. Like, these pillows are freaking terrible. No matter, even if it's a nice hotel. Maybe Joe Ryan's like that. Maybe Joe, if I was a baseball player, I'd probably travel with that pillow, because I do when we go to like Louisville for weeks at a time. I will travel with the pillow. That pillow comes with me. I just can't take it to the Final Four. Like, I don't want to
pack it.
I don't want to pack it. What if it gets lost? Now what?
Put it in your suitcase,
now
guy.
I'm SOL. What if it gets lost? How am I going to have space in the suitcase for the souvenirs for the children, Sterling?
Forget
you don't
children.
have children.
Forget them.
Never.
For like 3 days.
Kids, that's Uncle Sterling saying that to you.
Yes.
So, you know, you met the kid. You just met the kids.
I did just meet the kids.
And
yeah.
you're saying that about them, and they're unforgettable, right?
They're nice kids.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We really worked hard.
Well trained.
Thank you. Yes, they were. They were on a leash. Well trained. They were there, and also they do go outside to go to the bathroom. So we have potty. They are house trained, both of them.
I actually get that because that's the Louisville in him. That's the Southern Indiana. You go outside.
You would know.
I know that.
All right, let's get into the conversation today. We'll talk some Masters, some golf today. We'll talk some Chiefs football as well. The Royals, again, it's a Joe Ryan game. I don't really put much stock into last night. Like, honestly, I don't, because I didn't expect much from them. I was hoping that they would win. Like I said, to win the series, they needed to win one of the next 2. All right. We got Lugo and Walk on the mound. Can you win one of the next 2? They got a game this afternoon. We'll see if they can win that one. I do think after the show is over, I'm going to head over to Nick and Jake's with the program and hang out and watch the Masters over there, have some pimento cheese. I don't know if I'm going to have the egg salad sandwich or not. I don't know. I'm going to decide. You know, maybe I flip a coin. You know, egg salad or pimento cheese. I feel like pimento cheese is so much more connected to the Masters than egg salad, even though they're sort of 6 in one, half a dozen in the other at Augusta. But I hear so much more about pimento cheese than egg salad sandwiches. So I'll head to, but Nick and Jake's will have both. So I'll head there and during the show. And if you want to go and hang out too, say hi, you know. Give a little high five, low five, depending on how cool you are in baseball. Sometimes they do a high five, sometimes they do a low five, sometimes it's a fist bump. Sometimes you explode it. Sometimes you golf clap as well. But I'll be there hanging out with the program and seeing the fine folks over at Nick and Jake's and watching a little Masters after the show is over today and doing that. So that'll be a lot of fun there. And the Royals this afternoon wrapping up their 4-game set against the Twins. Let's get into this. It's 2 weeks today since the Royals started the season. Any observations? Any obviously small sample size. Go ahead and take a drink. You look parched right now. Right before you get into your observations, you want to wet the whistle a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's wet.
Yep, absolutely. Observations. You want to go first, second, fifth?
I'll go first.
You want to go first? Okay, great. You want to go one at a time or like multiple observations, and I'll give mine. It doesn't matter. What do you want to do? Let's
first observation is the offense is 2 scoops of ass.
Okay. That's one observation, certainly. Yeah.
It kind of counts as 2.
Honestly, I don't disagree. I mean, that was one of my observations, too. I don't know if it was first, second, or third, but it was certainly up there in the rankings of 2 weeks in. Actually, you know what? As I look at my rankings or just the observations, the first thing I wrote down is the offense.
Yeah.
Is worse so far than we thought it would be or hoped it would be. I didn't write 2 scoops of ass. I left that one open for you.
Thank you.
I just wrote worse so far, and then I did a deeper dive on where they are really struggling and what the difference is from last year. But you're going with the offense first and foremost. Anything in particular there, or just a general 2 scoops?
Everyone not named Bobby Witt Jr., Michael Garcia, and this smattering of 14 at-bats from Mark Canha. I mean, it's
smattering.
I mean, I guess you can say Captain
And he's on
been fine.
and he's on the IL now.
Vinny's been pretty darn bad. He hit the home run, and he has 10 RBIs.
Opening day, didn't it look like Vinny was just going to come out white hot?
Oh, I was so excited.
Just like, this is what a healthy Vinny looks like.
And he's really struggled. And again, you can't take away the RBIs, but 3 came on a bloop. Another one came on that little bloop to left field. He outside of the home run and the triple, it's not like he's really hitting the ball hard. The walks are not quite the way, at least with the eye, that we thought it was going to be. Salvador Perez has really struggled to open the season. India's been fine. India's getting on base. The average and slugging's going to go up once the weather warms up. He's not a guy who's going to just crush it into the wind or when it's 45 degrees into left field at Kauffman. It gets out at Citizens Bank, or not Citizens Bank, Great American Ballpark in Cincy. It won't here at the K. But when the weather warms up, I'm not really worried about India. Michael Massey's been a little disappointing offensively, right? The glove's been pretty nice. We've seen him make a lot of nice plays defensively.
Yeah.
But offensively, you thought he would be at least a net positive for a second baseman. He's been a net negative. Renfroe has been unplayable. MJ Melendez has been unplayable. Kyle Isabel has come through in a couple moments. I actually don't have many qualms with Isabel overall outside the base paths. And Bobby's been good, but not Bobby. I know the OPS is 848. He has the triple, the 5 doubles. Bobby's turning it around, I guess, I think, a little bit.
I think so, too.
Because the strikeouts early have somewhat dissipated.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think, Bobby Witt so far this year, it's like, all right, this guy's OPSing at 765. There's a lot of players on this team that 765 would be a career year.
I see 848. Did last games not populate?
I think I don't know. Maybe that's for me.
I have Bobby Witt Jr. 47 at bats, 12 games, 848 OPS.
I've got him at 47 at bats, 53 plate appearances, 765 OPS, 426 slug, 340 on base, 255 batting average.
Yeah, I have 277, 358, 489.
You're so stupid.
I don't know what's going. Well, blame ESPN.
I'm at Baseball Reference. Is that not a good enough site for you?
Normally it is. Normally I love that.
Yeah. But even let's just say it's 765. Let's just randomly say 765. Isn't that'd be like a career year for a lot of guys on this team. If it's 840, hell yeah, even better. You know what I mean? I think that was yesterday's OPS, right? I think that was yesterday's OPS.
So ESPN's maybe has not populated.
Yeah, I don't think it's populated for last night. I think going into the game it was like 840. I don't know that it would drop 100 points though. Either way, we know that what Bobby's going to be, and we know what this season. The back of the baseball card. It's a short list on the back of the baseball card, but it's still there. Here's the issue that the Royals are running into so far this year. 2 weeks, small sample size. We get it. It's not where we can look at all of last year, but and maybe it's specifically Salvi, but the Royals last year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. How often did we talk about, good God, this is the most clutch team in baseball, and it will not be able to keep up. You're just not going to be able to have that many 2-out RBIs with this team because they were winning so many games. And it's like, what's sustainable, what's not sustainable? Well, I mean, the clutchiest of clutch is not sustainable. I mean, that is going to even out over time. And maybe this year so far is unfortunately maybe it's the evening out. Evening out. That huge home run from Vinny Pasquantino, a 3-run shot with 2 outs, was absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. And that goes a long way early in the season of looking at what your numbers are with runners in scoring position and 2 outs. Okay? That hit will go a long way over 2 weeks because Vinny Pasquantino has 5 total at-bats with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. He's got 2 hits. His first one was a 3-run shot. The other one since then is a single. And so it's like, he's 1 for 4 with a single since then. And, a strikeout. He's also walked in that position as well. But I looked at last year's numbers with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. And I don't remember it from the 2-3-4. Bobby, Vinny, and Salvi. I don't remember it being this. Do you guys want to throw a dart? Just thinking off the top of your head. Because we know they were clutch. Do you want to take a guess? 2 outs, runners in scoring position. The 2-3-4 in the lineup for the Royals had 205 plate appearances. What they OPS'd?
Oh.
Combined, 2-3-4.
OPS, not even average. OPS?
OPS, yeah.
Oh.
205 plate appearances, OPS.
Oh, man, it had to be crazy. I'll say 900.
900?
Yeah,
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy.
850?
850, it's pretty crazy. What if I told you 1.073 OPS last year, 2-3-4 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. They batted .340. They got on base at .470, and they slugged .600.
Yeah.
Witt, Vinny, and Salvi with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. They drove in 85 RBIs last year with 2 outs and runners in scoring position and 205 plate appearances. 10 home runs, 14 doubles, and a triple. They had 25 extra base hits and 205 plate appearances, 2 outs and runners in scoring position. So far, they've got 25 at-bats, and since Vinny's home run, they're 5 for 25 with 6 RBIs. So 28 plate appearances, they've got 6 RBIs. Now, you can do the math there if you want to, but it may not be far off. But you're also talking about Salvi being what's really sort of bringing it down because he's OPSing at 444. I mean, he's 2 for 9 with 2 outs and runners in scoring position with a couple of RBIs. He's batting .222, getting on base at .222, and slugging .222. That's an OPS of 444. That's my quick little math. Bobby's numbers are good, and Vinny's numbers are good. Because early on, like Vinny's 2 outs, runners in scoring position for the season is 1.5 OPS because there's a home run in 5 at-bats. So you've got 2 hits, and one of those is a home run and 5 at-bats. That's pretty good. And he also has a walk. So that can kind of skew things early on, but you kind of get a WAR. What I talked about, like, do you get a WAR if you win the game and somebody hits a 2-out, 3-run home run and you win that game? That'd be pretty nice. That didn't happen first game of the year. But still, opening day, that was a rough one. But Vinny had that huge hit. I thought he would get a WAR for that particular performance, but that obviously did not happen. I don't think there's any way. Can they approach 1,000, almost 1,100 OPS for the 2-3-4 last year? Now, I don't think they have to if Garcia's better and India's better and things like that. I don't think they have to get to 1,000 because it was really reliant on those guys. If they didn't come through, who the hell was coming through? Maybe it's different. Maybe you don't have to be to that level. But I just wonder if they can approach that because that's an all-time year.
Well, even if it's 850, I think can be realistic because Bobby Witt Jr. is going to be over that.
Sign me up right now. If 2 outs, runners in scoring position, the 2-3-4 for this team, OPS is at 850.
And I think that's a realistic number because one's Bobby Witt, who's probably going to be over 850 regardless.
And Vinny finds ways to get runs home. The Vinny special is a less than 2-out sacrifice fly. Obviously, that's the Vinny special. Or put the ball in play, like the winning run on Tuesday night.
But it does feel like Salvador Perez has historically been very good in those situations. I know that one of the biggest moments in Royals history might be rose-colored glasses, obviously the wild card game down the line. But it feels like Salvador Perez almost always comes through. We know about Game 7 against San Fran. But
Salvi last year in 88 plate appearances, batted .340, got on base at .467, slugged .592 for a 1.057 OPS for Salvi with 2 outs, runners in scoring position last year. And in 88 plate appearances, had 18 strikeouts and 14 walks. 18 strikeouts, 14 walks
dialed,
for Salvi,
man.
2 outs, runners in scoring position.
He
Last
gets
year,
dialed.
He was locked in. This year, that hasn't been the case so far. It happens, but it's 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
We'll take a time out. We'll get into some more observations of what we've seen so far from the Royals. We talk about the offense there. I think some of the other things are more positive, especially with the pitching staff and the bullpen. Outfield, I didn't know that it could be worse than what I had thought, but that's one of my observations too. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, folks, if you're out there and maybe you're wondering if you... I'd say half the bullpen. Half the bullpen is a little worse than I thought it would be, and half the bullpen is better than I thought it would be. Lynch, Harvey, Urseg, Estevez. I didn't know what to think of Estevez. I had a good idea about Urseg. Didn't know if Lynch was going to carry over what he did last year. And was Harvey healthy last year? Was it all a health issue? Is he just not as good as they were hoping he would be when they traded for him? And now I think we've got a pretty decent idea that he didn't pitch healthy when he came over from the Royals, which is why the trade still wasn't terrible, because you had years of control with Hunter Harvey. So the bullpen, to me, because of that back end, which was the most important part, every single bullpen's going to have a couple of weak spots in it. And for this team last year to win as many games as they did, to have that many weak spots, especially trying to get from 7, 8, 9, that was impressive, and that was the most important part for me. And then Daniel Lynch doing what he's doing, I think, has just added to it a little bit.
Yeah, you have 5 guys you really trust right
100%.
now. Because I think I throw. You said Schreiber.
I didn't say Schreiber, but I throw him in there as well.
So Ursig, Harvey, Estevez, Daniel Lynch as your lefty,
and Schreiber,
and then Schreiber, and then you at least have some track record with Angel Zerpa.
Yeah, and then Stratton, mop up, and Sam Long. Who knows? Those guys may be interchangeable by the end of the year. That they, those 2 spots, another lefty and a long relief mop up. The game's out of hand. Last night you're not going to win anyway, sort of thing. You can't get guys on base. Let's throw Chris Stratton out here, not waste anybody else. You're up by 20. Okay, which is a great thing to be up by 20 in baseball. Put Chris Stratton out there. That's great.
I did go to a game where the Royals did lose by, I think, 20 against the Rangers.
It happens. You know what I mean? It was Juan Gonzalez out there on the field for
about 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. So he was not playing.
No, shockingly.
Nor was he playing for the Royals either. What about Pudge? Was he out there for the Rangers, putting on the tools of ignorance behind the plate? So the bullpen is better than I thought it would be. So that's good. The starting staff is right around where I thought it would be, except for Chris Bubich has already, early on, given me more optimism to surpass what I was hoping he would be. I wanted him just to be Brady Singer. Can he be what Brady Singer did last year? And if he could be what Brady Singer was last year, you've essentially traded for Jonathan India and not lost anything. Because if Bubich is filling in for Singer, you haven't lost anything with that spot. And you've added Jonathan India. So that's been much better in these 2 weeks in the couple of starts for Bubich than I was thinking it would be. But how he's looked is different, and why there's more optimism and excitement there.
Yeah, actually, the starting pitching has exceeded my expectations. You know my thoughts. I make the trade every single time, India for Brady Singer. I make that trade, but I was very concerned about where the Royals would get those 180 innings, good innings from. Again, they were mostly great against bad teams. Thank you, Dylan. This is my concern, dude. Bubich has exceeded my expectations so far. And Lorenzen has exceeded my expectations to an extent so far. So actually the starting pitching has been better than expected. The bullpen's been about where I expected overall, where I thought it was going to be really, really good. Maybe Sam Long taking a step back, Zerpa taking a step back again. It's very, very early. That kind of tempers it, while Hunter Harvey being really great has kind of evened the water level out there. Pitching overall, though, I think has been a pretty darn good, optimistic outlook so far.
I didn't think the outfield would be this bad, and I didn't have I didn't have high expectations for the outfield, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. And a little bit of that is, like, you look at the early defensive metrics that are there, it's not a surprise that Hunter Renfroe is third to last in defensive run saves, defensive runs saved with -4. It's not a surprise from that standpoint at all. And -2 in outs above average, not a surprise for Renfroe. What is surprising is somebody like Kyle Isbell, who was in 2024, had a +9 outs above average and +5 defensive runs saved, is -2 in defensive runs saved and -2 in outs above average. That is a little surprising. Like, Renfroe being third to last in defensive runs saved is worse than I thought it would be, especially when the 2 players that are behind him are Altuve, a converted second baseman playing left field for the first time in his career, and O'Neal Cruz, a converted shortstop who's playing center field the second half of last season, the last 30 games of last season, and then this year. Those are the only two guys that grade out worse in the outfield. The outfield, not just right field, the outfield, than Hunter Renfroe, and they are converted middle infielders playing outfield this year. And Hunter Renfroe, by the way, is not a converted middle infielder. He's a outfielder his whole career.
But at least the bat's been great.
That's true. But the surprise, MJ Melendez is +3 in defensive runs saved.
Yeah, I was
going to
say.
Jonathan India is +1.
There's your positive. Is
Yes.
MJ Melendez, and we've actually given him some credit for as bad as the bat's been this
Put his ass
year.
in right field. True platoon, MJ and Hunter. Honestly, you're getting better defense with MJ, and you're getting the same bats. You're going to have more bat with MJ against righties than you will Hunter Renfroe against lefties.
Sure.
But at least you get better defense more times than not in right field than what you're getting from Hunter Renfroe. I say true platoon in right field with MJ and Hunter before you figure things out, and then left field is India, or Canada's on the IL.
Yeah.
But maybe it's Garcia. I don't know in left field. Finding different answers out there.
Maybe it's Garcia in center and Kyle in left at this point.
Right? Who knows? Or Kyle platooning. Maybe another true platoon in center field.
Yeah.
And if there's a righty out there, then Kyle Isbell will play center, and you'll figure out another place for Michael Garcia. Maybe that's third, maybe it's second, maybe it's DHing. Who knows? But Kyle Isbell plays against right-handers and plays center field because defensively he has not been the stud that he was last year. So that has been lower than what I was hoping it would be. A lot of the Isbell and also Renfroe being the worst outfielder that has played outfield more than 50 games in their career. Because the only two that are worse is O'Neal Cruz and Jose Altuve. The only two worse than Hunter Renfroe. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. Here in this first hour, we'll talk with Kent Swanson coming up top of the 11 o'clock hour, get his thoughts on the NFL draft 2 weeks away, mock drafts going on, number of names that are showing up with the Chiefs connected there a little more frequently, and we'll get his thoughts on the draft guide that was released. I want to talk to Kent about some of his guys in the draft guide, see how they would fit with the Chiefs and other sort of positional groups they might be looking at. Also ask him the same question that Sterling and I discussed yesterday of Simmons, Kenneth Grant, Luther Burden. Are they at 31? Who's he taking? And then also, what's the order that he would probably take those guys in? So we'll talk about that with Kent Swanson. And then Myron Metcalf coming up at noon, talking some college basketball, putting a bow on the tournament. More Zone next. with opening round coverage. Right now, let's talk some Kansas City Chiefs, some NFL draft, as Kent Swanson, KC Sports Network, the KC Laboratory Podcast, joins us here in the zone on this Thursday. Kent, how are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing tremendous now that the Masters is here. Very happy Masters weekend to you. I can't wait, man. We got a party on Sunday. I'm
Nice.
so excited. This is a great weekend. I can't wait for Chris Vernon to tell us what's going on at Augusta.
That's what's going on at Augusta.
Oh.
Man, I would give anything to be the one that did that, to be the one that started that, because, oh my God, it's so brilliant. It is just so brilliant.
I heard the music on the way in here, and
God.
it just put me in the right headspace.
I know, right? Tony
And now I just
Finau,
hear,
where he be now?
3 over.
Tony Finau 3 over. Tony Finau, where he be now? God. It's so brilliant, man. It is just so brilliant, man. Sometimes something that sounds so dumb in your mind, like, you know what? I didn't think doing something like that would be this much of a culture thing that. You know, SVP talks about it each and every Masters on sports, and it's great, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Do you have a pick of who you've taken to win the tournament?
So I've got Colin Morikawa.
Nice. Okay. I got some money.
That's going so
I got
far.
some money on Morikawa. I got some money there on old Colin. So he's even through 7 right now, which is perfectly fine. Got some money on Zalatoris. He's 1 under. The reason I threw some money on Zalatoris, Kent, is because he bogeyed the first hole, and I was like, well, let me go look at what his number is now, because he started out at plus 5,000. And he bogeyed the first hole, and it jumped to plus 9,000. I'm like, I'll throw a couple peanuts on that. $3 is going to pay me like almost $300. So come on, Will. And then I got a number of different people in the top 10. Like I got, Corey Connors to finish in the top 10, Sergio Straka to finish in the top 10, and Sterling is not confident in my. Maybe overconfidence in Justin Thomas to finish in the top 10, because I've got a nice little plus 1,100 parlay for Scheffler, Rory, and Thomas to finish in the top 10. But the reason it's plus 1,100 is because Justin Thomas really raises that number. So we'll see. We'll see what happens,
Yeah, so I got Sepp to miss the cut, by the way. I got Sepp Straka to miss the cut. So I think we're diametrically opposed right now.
But you know what? You got that's only a couple bucks in the top 10. You probably got some decent odds, though, on the miss the cut, because he's like one of the sleeper, picks. So
he's +2.
Yeah.
I play a little game with my buddies, so
Nice.
we're all kind of in all that a little bit. So
Nice.
we're playing a little game here. So
yeah, I got Scheffler to miss the cut. I put my entire inheritance on Scheffler to miss the cut. Right now, not going so well, but plus infinity was the number for Scheffler to miss the cut. So it's and in fact, you get to own DraftKings if you put even a penny on that and he misses the cut. They just give you the entire company. So looking forward to that if he gets it done. I've been looking forward to this draft guide to be released, and it is out. And so these last 3 days been absolutely enjoying going through and perusing. Do you wake up on the 7th and you're pumped and excited? Do you go to bed on the 6th and you're incredibly nervous for it to be released, or is there a resting easy? How's the feeling of a year's worth of work to put this, I think it's 7,000 page draft guide together at KC Sports Network when it's finally released?
I think you got all the emotions there, actually.
Nice.
Because there's
Nailed
a lot
it.
of relief to have it out and done. There's a lot of just a little bit of nerves to make sure everything goes smoothly and you didn't miss something or screw something up entirely. But no, it's a lot of emotions. But the feedback's been incredible this year, and we've got a great group of people that are all as passionate about the NFL draft as myself and Maddie Lane are, that all work together to get this thing done. And it's always cool just because you're right, it's a long process. Like the book began in earnest in October, and to finally get get that thing out was really cool, and really proud of our group of guys that put this thing together, and really proud of how it turned out.
Yeah, I was, just looking through, and then you get to the 2024 year in review. Then I got to the Super Bowl, and I just skipped it. I just went right down to the draft guide chart and things like that. So, I don't know why, but that page was missing in my draft guide. I don't know what happened. So those things take place. Hey, real quick, because we never really know how many actual first round grades there are from each individual team. Like some teams will have 15, some teams will have 12, some teams might be a little more generous and have 20. Do you know off the top of your head how many you guys came up with true first round grades this year?
Yeah, so for this year we had 10 true first round grades.
Only 10 of them? Is that typical 10? Where it's around, or is this a little less this year?
A little less. I think it's a little less than we normally have. I think we're somewhere in the teens most of the time. So I mean, there's less of a group of your true blue chip types, I think. And then just I think a lot of people have been saying this is like a starters draft where there's a really good middle class outside of that first round. There's a really good bucket of second round players, a really good bucket of third round players, and those are guys that you're typically going to wind up being starters for you. And I think we have around 100. Third round grades are higher in this class, so about in line with with how many picks are in the first 3 rounds too. So I think this is a pretty good middle class of players in this draft. There's a lot of talent there still, just not the blue chips at the top.
In case somebody was wondering and worrying about my bet, Justin Thomas to save par from about 17 feet just buried the putt. So I was in the middle of writing an email to DraftKings about getting your money back. What's the policy on asking for my money back on the Justin Thomas finishing in the top 10 parlay? Can I have a little bit of the? Can I get 50% back? Can I take that back, please? But he hit it, so full confidence now on that one. Visiting with Kent Swanson. All right, let's go through some of your guys. I like looking through it and seeing the different guys that you guys like. Can you, before we go through some of these, what's the criteria for you specifically in, picking out your guy? I'm assuming it's, number one pick in the draft. This is the best player in the draft. This is my guy. I think he's going to be really good. What's Kent Swanson's criteria for coming up with a guy that you like?
Yeah, I think it's players that you feel maybe a little bit stronger than others about. It's players that you just appreciate their game, and maybe they're not even necessarily entirely a fit for the Kansas City Chiefs, but they're players that you think could potentially outdraft or outperform kind of the expectations and the perceptions of them. There's a lot that goes into it for me, but I think there's some really fun prospects in this class, and there's some players I'm really interested in, and some of them we even got to talk to
nice.
At the East West Shrine Bowl, and so there's some bias that kind of sneaks in there too. But I think that's kind of the I don't want to say vibe, but it's a lot baked into it there, right? It's more personal than it is on paper, right?
Yeah, there's a guy that I really like in this draft named Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter. He's my guy. I feel really strongly about. A lot of people don't think he's a first-day pick or even a second-day pick, but I like him. I think somebody's going to get a steal if they get him in the third round. If he's there at 31, do the Chiefs take him?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's
too small.
That's iffy. Yeah,
just too small. Too small of a player.
A little rich. A little rich for me there.
I know. Can they trade back and get him? Probably. I don't know. Let's talk about a couple of these guys, because I do think a couple of the positions that you're looking at that of these 4 players that are positions that the Chiefs may be looking at. The defensive line, you like Elijah Roberts from SMU as a 4th-round grade, and Joshua Farmer, defensive tackle from Florida State, as a 4th-round grade. Those guys' possibilities, what do you like about them, and do you think how would they fit, or would you want to see them in a Chiefs uniform if they're sitting there with a 4th-round pick and Elijah Roberts or Joshua Farmer is the name that pops up on the screen?
Yeah, so I think both of those guys are quite interesting. So we'll start with Elijah Roberts. He was built in a lab to be a Steve Spagnuolo defensive end. So he's got just unbelievable measurables for the position. So he was, I think he was 6'4", 285 pounds at the East West Shrine Bowl, and that's a massive frame, right? Like some people are going to describe him as like a 5 technique in a 3-down defense, but I think he can hold up at the edge position totally fine at the next level. And Steve Spagnuolo is probably drooling over the idea of a guy that plays that big of a measurable, plays the run the way that he does as an early down defensive end that has the ability and the flexibility to kind of kick inside and be that sub-package rusher. We have a 4th-round grade on him. If the Chiefs took him at pick 95, I think that's an entirely reasonable draft range for him, and that's actually a player, I mean, for Robert specifically, I'd be thrilled if the Chiefs were getting him at 95. And then with Joshua Farmer, I think it's another guy that's kind of got some of the measurables and that Steve Spagnuolo will appreciate, 35-inch arms. And some really impressive flash plays, utilizing that length, utilizing his hand technique. We have a 4th-round grade on him in the KCSN draft guide. My grade's doing some heavier lifting there than
okay.
on that too, because I mean I got a solid 3rd-round grade on him. And nice. Honestly, if the Chiefs took him at 63, like this is a guy that has some impressive flashes as a pass rusher along the interior, plays the run well. And has exceptional length and measurables that I think this team would certainly appreciate. So I think both of those guys are interesting day 2 options, honestly, if the Chiefs are looking at them.
Defensive line is definitely a spot that I think the Chiefs will be looking to draft. With re-signing Nick Bolton, having Drew Tranquill under contract and Leo Chanel the next couple of years. Your other guys that you've looked at are linebackers in Schlesinger and Buchanan as a 2nd and then a 4th-round grade. Is linebacker something you think the Chiefs may be looking at in this draft, or these just happen to be guys that you really like and maybe better, more than other people like?
I would not discount the idea that the Chiefs go linebacker. And the reason being, obviously they've extended Nick Bolton, but Leo Chanel's going to be on the way out in 2026, potentially, unless he gets the contract extension done. Drew Tranquill is more expensive next year, but you can save $7.5 million against the cap if you are to let Drew Tranquill go. So I don't know if they are locked in necessarily as much as it might look today at the linebacker spot as they will in 2026. And with Carson Schlesinger, I think he's a tremendous talent that gives the Chiefs. I'll throw him as a fit to the Chiefs as a dynamic player that checks a lot of boxes for Steve Spagnuolo. He's 240 pounds. He's an exceptional athlete, just a tremendous athlete, and he can play as the will linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a position that Drew Tranquill's manned a lot recently. Leo Chanel's been your Sam, but finding a 240-pound, a guy that's built like Leo Chanel from a frame perspective, that can cover, that has range and instincts, and can really be an impact 2nd-level defender in coverage, that's really tempting. And so, if he's there at pick 63, he's probably the best player available or one of the best players available. So if the Chiefs pulled the trigger on that, I could sell that very easily, sitting where I'm at.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. If that's the route they go, I mean, they've been pretty good in 2nd-round linebackers with Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. Those are different guys. Willie Gay was drafted to be somebody like a Schlesinger from UCLA, and a guy that profiles as somebody that's going to have more coverage ability than maybe taking on blocks, shedding the blocker, and getting to that next level and making the tackle. Nick Bolton, looked at as a guy to do some of those things as the middle linebacker, whether the shedding the blocks and all of that stuff is, positive or not. That's what he was drafted for. Willie Gay drafted for something different. And Drew Tranquill is in the final year of his contract, and who knows, what he looks like this year. He looked really good a couple of years ago. Last year, I think he was fine, maybe because expectations were heightened a little bit on him. And, you're looking at Willie Gay and Drew Tranquill, and this year we'll see what he looks like. But, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised or against if they go that route, because they've proven with Steve Spagnuolo that they've gone linebacker a couple of times in the 2nd round, and they still need somebody to go and cover as a linebacker to go from sideline to sideline.
If I can add something else here that I think is at least a little bit of note with all the linebacker conversation, and you brought it up, the 2nd round linebackers. One of the features that I have in the KCSN draft guide this year is we kind of just looked at the trends of Brett Veach as a drafter, right? We're 7 drafts into Brett Veach's tenure now, and so you're starting to identify and pick up on some trends. The Chiefs draft linebackers in day 2. That's where they draft linebackers. I think every linebacker that they've taken over the course of the last 7 years in the Veach era has been has been in day 2 of the draft. The other piece of this too is they seem to be a year early on linebackers too. And what I mean by that is Nick Bolton was here as a rookie, but Anthony Hitchens was still under contract for the Chiefs that year, that rookie year for Nick Bolton. So, Steve Spagnuolo greatly covets having those linebackers here a little bit early to try to give them time to get acclimated. And then they handed the reins over to Bolton in second year. Schlesinger, he maybe plays as a sub-package role player in year 1, but then gets an opportunity to have a more expanded role and maybe even take over the dime linebacker roles for Nick Bolton if it's a guy like Schlesinger.
No, it's a great chart, by the way, looking at it, because we knew that cornerback was taken. That the surprise with McDuffie when they traded up for him was that they were trading up for a cornerback. All of a sudden, cornerback pops up on the screen. We're like, what? Hold on, they don't usually spend resources on this. But as they talked about, he was a first round grade and he was there, and they weren't going to pass up on it. They were going to trade up to get him, and they traded ahead of the Bills that took Kaiir Elam. And right now, one of the popular mock drafts for the Bills has them taking a cornerback in the first round because they had Kaiir Elam and not Trent McDuffie, and they're still looking for a cornerback. But looking at the chart, it's like day 1, 10 cornerbacks drafted with Brett Veach. Day 1, 1. Day 2, 0. Day 3, 9. Okay, that's a trend. 4 linebackers on day 2, all 4 linebackers drafted on day 2. That's a trend. 9 out of 10 cornerbacks drafted on day 3. That's a trend as well for Brett Veach. But yeah, it's really awesome, this chart that's there. What do you think about Kent Swanson's our guest? What do you think about the some of the mock drafts that are out there? And we discussed this a little bit yesterday, in that there's becoming a more popular name. Last night, Mel Kiper and Field Yates did their live mock draft. And Josh Simmons at number 31 of the Chiefs, and Josh Simmons a couple of other places at number 31 of the Chiefs. What do you think of that spot? Do you think he makes it to 31, first of all? And if he's there at 31 and the medicals check out, are you good with taking a guy that maybe will need a redshirt year and a little bit more time to develop, if that's the answer at that position? Or are you more inclined to say, no, let me get somebody that could be an impact player in 2025?
Yeah, he's one of the most fascinating prospects in this entire draft, because I mean, looking at where we stack him in the KCSN draft guide, for instance, from a tape perspective, we have him as we have him as the 14th best prospect in this entire class. Got a high second round grade for us, which that translates to a high quality starter potential that has an immediate role, right? So it's a guy that we think has the ability to step in day 1 and be a potential, a solution and a capable starter that has a chance to wind up being a high-level player, right? With Simmons, it's tricky, right? Because is the reason that he's there at 31 because the medicals are not great? And if so, does that mean that if you are the Kansas City Chiefs, you are taking on a significant risk? Probably. Is it worth it for a team that is scrambling the last few years to try to solve the left tackle position? Yeah, it might be. I mean, I think the risk reward for a player like Josh Simmons is probably a logical leap for the Kansas City Chiefs in a position that is so crucial, so vital, and has been problematic for them over the course of the Holmes era. It checks a lot of boxes for me, even though there's a risk, even though there's a chance that maybe you have to redshirt him. You might have solved that position for 4 years, and that's the most settled that position would be in the Mahomes era if Josh Simmons becomes even just a capable left tackle. And if he does become just a capable left tackle, that's a massive win at the end of round 1. It is so hard to acquire tackles. It is so hard to find them in free agency. You have to. These guys stick most often than not, and the ones that stick,
and the ones that are worth anything are typically the guys that are going in the top 20 selections, and the Chiefs just don't have that opportunity very often. So I think Simmons has been a big hot topic lately for me, and we've spent some time on our podcast talking about it as well. It's just he makes too much sense logically for so many different reasons. By the way, he also played right tackle at San Diego State before he was at Ohio State. So, like, even if Jalen Moore goes and balls out this year, you might have your right tackle next year too. So, like, there's just so many boxes he checks. I think he's worth the risk at the end of round one.
If his arms grew from the combine to his pro day, which was good for him, because that maybe solves a little bit of the concern around him. But if his arms shrink by draft day, do you think the Chiefs, based on, there's a threshold for the arm length that they will not draft, as opposed to, hey, this guy looks like a really good football player. I've changed my tune on some of that early in the draft because McDuffie didn't fit the profile of a cornerback they would draft. And so, Simmons' arms aren't as long as they would like for a left tackle. Okay, but is it worth passing up on this guy because of a quarter of an inch or, a half inch or whatever, what your threshold of an offensive line's arm length is?
All right, so a couple things. Jason, do you know what the average arm length has been for the tackles that the Chiefs have drafted since Andy Reid got here?
Man,
do you know the average arm length?
I would say like 34 and a quarter or something like that.
34 and 5/8.
Yes, so there you go. Yes, damn near 35. Yes, so more than 34 and a half. Yeah, yep. So I was a little under, with the 34 and a quarter.
Well, and I think, I get it, and I think I would have guessed 34 and a quarter before I looked it up the other day. But I think there's two things. One, like, so we've seen the trend with arm length, and we've seen that trend not be broken, and like. We've seen the cornerback stuff be, we've seen that be broken with a shorter arm cornerback in Trent McDuffie. That, hey, elite slot player at minimum, and he's held up totally fine as an outside cornerback. But we haven't really seen that trend. The shortest arms that have ever been drafted by the Chiefs are Kingsley Suamata'ia's arms at the tackle spot. Now, they bend more when it's a player that has NFL tape and has shown an ability to do that. Like, they're more flexible with that arm length stuff. But when they're looking at prospects coming out of college, they've been pretty strict on arm length. Now, Joshua Simmons fits under that threshold, but so did Kingsley Suamataia, and it's getting harder and harder to find long arm tackles, period.
Yeah.
I think the way that college football is going, it's approaching it more with a best 5 players on the offensive line approach, which means that you're probably not seeing people try to develop guys with the measurables as much because they can get away with it with the way the offenses are played. So I think there's some stuff working against the Chiefs there, trying to identify players that fit that threshold. So maybe they're going to have to start getting a little bit more creative. But another thing, I think the combine measurables were bogus. Just that's kind of the buzz around here is like that whoever did the arm length measurements really screwed some things up for the rest of the league. And so I tend to buy some of these. Actually, I tend to buy something from a pro day for the first time ever. But yeah, I think Simmons' arms are in range to be considered.
All right, real quick, 30 seconds or less. We talked about this yesterday. Josh Simmons, Kenneth Grant, Luther Burden, all on the board at 31. Who do you take?
Simmons, all day.
Is it Simmons, Grant, Burden, or would you go Simmons, Burden, Grant?
Whew. That's tough. Grant's probably a more immediate fit, so give me Grant. Burden's just a tough fit because they have a lot of guys that do similar things to him, but the talent is undeniable too. So it's tough.
Yeah, man, I knew you were smart. I mean, I knew you were smart with Simmons and then either Grant or Burden, but probably lean Grant over Burden, but definitely Simmons all day. God, you're so smart. Sterling, nothing to say over there. Interesting.
Correct answer is Grant.
No, it's not.
Correct answer.
Nope, that's not.
Fact.
We said Kent was smart. he said he was a smart guy. There you go.
Hey, yeah, smart guy. Look, he's not even being honest right now. Hey, smart guy.
He's a smart guy. Kent Swanson, our resident smart guy, joining us from KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, and the draft guide that is out there. Go to KCSN, check that out. A lot of different ways that you can purchase that draft guide. It is well worth it for your resource heading up the next couple of weeks. Kent, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. Also, Morikawa, 1 under. He did birdie the 5th hole, so there you go.
Yeah, but Scotty Scheffler 2 under.
Oh, he hung up too. That was a phone drop. He phone dropped it, and that's what's going on at Augusta. Hey. All right, we'll take a timeout. Come back. Continue rolling more zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll talk with Myron Metcalf coming up at noon, some college basketball. We'll talk with him, get his thoughts on the Florida Gators winning the championship, number 3 in their program history. Number 1 for Todd Golden, not Graham, Todd Golden. And we'll see who Myron thinks will be the next coach to win their first national championship. And who the national champion will be next year.
Todd Golden's come a long way from, living with his brother in Malibu, Charlie, out there with his son.
I don't get the reference, damn it.
It's 2.5 Men.
Oh, gosh, yes.
He looks just like
Man.
Alan.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I've never
Thinking
seen
at
that
it now?
show.
Thinking about it now? Yeah.
I've never seen it, but I wanted to act like I knew, so I gave it kind of like a pity chortle. But not like, but it's more or less like, oh, yeah, I want to be in the know. I hate doing that because then if someone asks me, like, oh, yeah, so you get the reference? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I don't. I just wanted to be. I wanted to feel like I was a part of a group.
Totally get the reference for sure. Scheffler just birdied 8, so he's 3 under. Unless I'm, behind by 3 holes. I don't think.
No, you're good.
Thank you.
Just a shot or so.
Appreciate you.
I'm looking at Minwoo Lee right now.
Okay. What are you looking at about him?
He's a great golfer.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Hammers the ball.
There we go.
It's like Rory, not a big dude, but just you're like, where does the power come from? It's the torque.
Yeah.
The torque.
It's like Bobby hitting, 480-foot home runs. It's like, well, he doesn't look like he's going to be like Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. Come on. Bobby Witt averaging a longer distance of his home runs last year than Aaron Judge. Like, oh, okay, well, there's that torque. There's the stretching of the rubber band and a completely, fully connected energy when the ball meets the barrel for Bobby Witt. And just a perfect, beautiful swing. There's a lot about it for Bob's.
You made fun of me.
Old Mr. Baseball.
You guys made fun of me a ton for keeping that golf glove on my work bag.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's coming in handy today.
No pun intended. Because it's on your hand right now.
It's on my hand right now.
So why is it coming in handy right now? Or do you need it?
To watch the Masters.
Okay,
it really
that makes sense.
Gets you amped. Just
that
like
makes
when dudes wear gloves to football games, right?
Yeah, I've never done that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a little silly, but
yeah. What about Jim Harbaugh wearing cleats on the sideline?
Well, trying to get he runs.
He does.
Try not to go with Seal Terry, so I kind of get it.
Telling you, man, we need all coaches wearing the uniform like baseball managers.
NBA would be hilarious.
We need absolutely NBA. Bill Self rocking just the KU jersey out there.
Football. I mean, football.
Andy Reid. Yes, you need Andy Reid in full get up, helmet, and everything.
Pads too.
You have to have pads.
Absolutely.
I think the pads.
No,
Yeah.
it's full pads.
No
It's-
Mr. Beast where you look like you're wearing like a fan jersey.
It's Andy Reid like in the punt, pass, and kick competition. Full on pads.
And he has to wear that. Like he doesn't get to wear the Chiefs stuff.
The Rams stuff.
He has to wear the Rams
with
stuff.
the name spelled wrong on the back.
Yes.
Hear me out. I think NHL might take the cake. You got to wear the actual
The goalie. You got to wear the goalie.
the
Yes.
goalie outfit with the. You actually got to wear the skates too.
Oh God, yeah. That would be that'd be cool. Yeah, basketball would be the most awkward though, because you'd have a bunch of guys that are kind of that are pretty unathletic now. They may have played back in their day, but they aren't exactly the shape of a basketball player anymore. That are just wearing the basketball shorts and the just
Basically
the basketball
a
jersey.
wife beater almost, basically.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I do think basketball has the least sturdy coaches. If you're going baseball, maybe. Football, it feels like a lot of the coaches have been a little larger.
Might have played some football back in their day.
Basketball
Most of them did, actually.
Basketball coaches feel like a lot of them. They might have a little beer belly, but they're not super sturdy. I feel like they stay in good shape.
Okay.
Basketball and baseball. Football's the wild one to me.
Yeah, football would be fantastic. It'd be great. They should absolutely do that.
The Hut Gut guy?
Yeah, yeah, sure. No, that was great, dude. Oh man, he was awesome on the Hard Knocks with the Browns.
with the Browns.
Everybody knows what
The
that
Browns out.
and that stomach.
Put an X on his helmet.
Beautiful.
The
man.
Hut Gut.
Yes. All right. Again, we'll talk with Myron Metcalf coming up at noon and see who he's going to pick to win the national championship next year. As last year at the end of the tournament, he picked Duke to win the national championship this year. They finished in the Final Four. That's Sterling's glove, apparently. He's now getting ready to putt, so he's got to take it off.
You got to take it off.
I guess. I'm not sure.
Well, when you're following Scotty, you got,
I see. Okay, that makes sense. And then in 2023, after the NCAA tournament, he picked Purdue to win the national championship. They played in the national title against UConn. So that was a pretty good pick to select Purdue. And then they, by the way, and they lost in the first round that year. So he picked a team that just lost to a 16 seed to win the national title the next year, and they played in the national championship. So pretty good. He's picked the last couple times he's picked Final Four teams to win the national title the next year. He's 2 for 2 in Final Four teams, and if it wasn't for a blown lead against Houston, he'd be 2 for 2 in picking a team that at least played in the national championship game.
Wow, yeah.
So we'll do that. Do you know what today is the 20th anniversary of? 20th anniversary.
So that was 2005.
It was 2005. And it just happens to be literally today on April 10th.
Was it Don't Say It Can't Get Worse, It Can Always Get Worse?
Nope. You're thinking too local.
Too local.
Yeah, maybe more timely, but not local.
So, Masters. 05. Would this have been the Tiger Chip-In?
The Tiger Chip-In on 16, 2005, and the final round on April 10th.
Wow.
Was that Sunday final round on 16. Now, I loaded in this this piece that they did on ESPN with Marty Smith. And a lot of times when they do some things for television, it doesn't come across on radio. But what I loved about this one is that it absolutely comes across on radio. It's a longer story that they put together here on ESPN, narrated by Marty Smith, with Tiger Woods and DeMarco and Vern and other people that had a role in that. Davis Love, talking with him because of Davis Love's shot in 2019, or excuse me, 1999, not 2019, but 99. That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
But here's the story they did on today being the 20th anniversary of hole 16 and Tiger and DeMarco on the final round, and Tiger going up 2 strokes. He was up by 1 when he had just an impossible chip for his second shot on hole 16. And I think it does come across pretty well on radio. So here you go.
That's the moment that stands out in all of Masters history. That's the one to me that is the best of them all.
They set it up in such a way that they want drama to occur there. It's become part of the lore of how we covered the shot. The closer it got, I relied on my often used phrase, "Oh my goodness."
At the Masters, every shot is a melody. And in 2005, Tiger Woods conducted a masterpiece. Early on Sunday, Woods was struggling, but scoring, engaged in a battle with Chris DeMarco.
The front 9, my irons were spot on. And it was funny, I actually joked with Tiger walking down the 11th hole because he's hitting it 60, 70 yards by me, but he's putting first on every hole because I'm hitting my irons closer than him. So I said to him, I go, "Are you tired of putting first yet?" And he kind of gave me a little FU and, jokingly.
On 16, with Woods holding a 1-stroke lead, DeMarco was once again closer to the pin, eyeing a birdie putt. Meanwhile, Tiger was off the green, to the left, with an impossible lie.
Well, I am reminded of Davis Love here 4 or 5 years ago when he pitched in.
Well, at Augusta National, you have to be creative and you have to think, I'm going to use the backstop, or I'm going to use the slope, or I'm going to leave this underneath the hole. And then when you get in a tough situation, you've already planned ahead for where balls roll.
Players have a long memory of the improvisational and stroke-saving shots executed over the years. Tiger was thinking of 1999.
And tell me if you believe in destiny now.
So many times at Augusta, don't be careful. Let's just go ahead and hit it.
There's a good chance he doesn't get this inside DeMarco's ball.
So while he was over there kind of surveying it and going back to Davis Love's chip, I knew that's the way he was going to play it.
I remember Davis chipping in from back over there, so I just tried to, not necessarily try to chip it in. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to throw the ball up on the hill and let it feed down there and then hopefully have a makeable putt.
hit it perfect, rolling down. I'm like, oh, this is looking pretty good. I'm blowing, trying to keep that thing out of the hole. But, it just rolled in like a perfect putt.
And all of a sudden it looked pretty good, and all of a sudden it looked like really good, and then it looked like, how can it not go in? And then all of a sudden it went in.
In your life have you seen anything like that? Now, Tiger's always very gracious. He says, well, Davis showed me how to hit that shot. I knew I could get it up and down. I knew I might make it. But then he'll remind me, but I won the tournament. So I chipped in and finished second. Tiger chipped in and won.
And how did CBS director Steve Milton get that iconic shot?
As the ball seems to have come to a stop, Steve, as he properly should have, said, ready 6, take 6. And Norm Patterson, the technical director who actually punches the buttons, instinctively did not take 6. And because he held on 10 and didn't take 6, we all saw what we all saw. And it changes everything about the shot.
In terms of skill of execution, it was among the greatest golf shots of all time. And in terms of serendipitous marketing, there's nothing close.
It's like the director would come in and go, guys, that was great. Tiger, can you make sure the logo's centered on the lip of the cup this time?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Over Tiger's career, Nike probably produced 3 hours of television commercials with him. And yet that 1.8 seconds did more for the brand than all of that.
He hit it perfectly.
In your life have you seen anything like that?
Stunning. Just stunning.
I mean, it's one of the most iconic shots in golf history. And it's funny that Davis loves saying, he reminds me that, when I chipped in, I won the tournament and you finished second. But it's a little bit like the U.S. beating the Russians in the Olympics, because that was the semifinals and not the gold medal game. Tiger bogeyed 17 and 18 after having a 2-shot lead over DeMarco. DeMarco parred 17 and 18. Tiger bogeyed. They had to go to a playoff. And it's like, remember, Tiger beat DeMarco in the Masters in a playoff. Well, hold on. I thought his chip in on 16 put him up by 2 strokes with 2 to play. Yeah. And then he bogeyed 17 and 18. And then playing 18 again, he birdied by making an 18-foot putt. After, Tiger hits his shot on the green in 2. DeMarco's just short of the green on his second. Chips right next to the cup. Just a little tap in for par. Tiger has to make that putt to win, or they go to another hole. And he sinks the putt, middle of the cup. And it's like, that's such a... If he didn't do that on 16, that putt on 18 in the tiebreaker, or in the, playoff, would probably be remembered a little bit more than one of the most iconic shots ever. And the Nike swoosh stopping on the lip. I mean, are you kidding me?
I remember exactly where I was when it happened. It was one of those shots that if you watched it live, you remember where you were.
Yes.
I was at my friend Joseph's house. We're in his parents' basement. We're just hanging out. There's like probably 8 of us there just watching that. And just the again, 1.8 seconds felt like
an eternity.
Just insane, man. I mean, and what makes the shot so hard if you're not a big golfer was it was on the collar. So you have the rough and the fringe, so it's not in one or the other. That's why it was so difficult trying to figure out and get through it.
And the rough was almost the length of the ball. Like, it was almost the size. So you had the rough right next to the ball that was as tall as the ball.
Just up against it.
I mean, just up against it. Like, how can you get a clean blade on it? And then say, well, I remember Davis Love and his chip from that spot. And so, yeah, I was trying to put it. And then Laney Watkins, who was doing the broadcast with Vern, saying there's a good chance he doesn't get this inside DeMarco's ball, which was 20 feet away from the cup. He's like, there's a good chance he doesn't even put this within 20 feet.
Which I love DeMarco talking a little smack up. And
how dumb.
It's never worked.
Are you tired of putting first, Tiger?
Friendly or not,
right?
it's not going to end well.
Famous last words.
Who was the Stephen Ames when he was talking about how, I have a chance? They were playing the match play, and he was talking about how he has a chance because, well, with the way Tiger's spraying the ball at the tee, I got a chance. And what did he win on 10? He was up 8 through 9, and then so they went dormy, and then he won hole 10, whatever it was, or pushed. And after it, Tiger goes, I think he knows now.
Yeah.
I think he knows now.
It's so iconic, man. And April 10th, 2005 is that final round of the Masters in 2005 when Tiger won, at that point, what was his second to last green jacket. Yeah. Didn't know it'd be 14 more years before he would win another green jacket after that, especially how young he sounded there. I mean, he sounded like a child when he was, talking there in the interview about remembering Davis Love's shot in '99. Like, he was it's just unbelievable, man, to think back, and the marketing. And also, as we go to break, the technical director not switching cameras, not switching to 6, because the camera shot of Tiger was him almost going down to a knee when it stopped, and then doing the double fist pump, which is the shot they got right after it fell. But right before that is Tiger like almost falling to his knees. That's what we would have seen, and then Tiger going crazy if he'd have taken the switched camera shot the way that the director wanted him to do that. Instead, he paused, saw it, and then immediately went to Tiger. It was beautiful, beautiful TV and drama. It was fantastic. So many things made that iconic. The shot, the moment, what it meant, the broadcast, the camera angle. Vern, in your life, have you seen anything like that? The Nike swoosh, like it's just, it's like it was created in like a commercial. We'll take a time out, come back. More Zone next. Talk with Myron Metcalf coming up in the next segment. Get his thoughts on the national championship game and what happens moving forward, the transfer portal, things like that, local schools, what they may look like next year, and, just assessment of Kelvin Sampson at final possession. Todd Golden, guy that won a game in the tournament at San Francisco and was a hot commodity, and the Florida Gators get him, and 3 years later they win a national title. So we'll talk about a lot of things with Myron Metcalf. Keep you up to date with the Masters updates as it goes along with round number 1 underway. There at the Masters, Scotty Scheffler still sitting at 3 under. He's a stroke off the lead in Steven Yeager at 4 under. For now, Myron next. college basketball. Myron, welcome into the show. How are you, sir?
Good, man. How's it going?
It is going just fine. Let's talk some college basketball with you. You were there on Monday night and the weekend on Saturday night as well. First of all, we got some fantastic games, and it did live up to the billing of 4 of the better teams we've seen in the Ken Pom era matching up, and then Florida coming away victorious. There wasn't a team there, Myron, that you would have said, that'd be surprising if they won the championship. Any of those teams winning, it would have made sense. What was your takeaway and view of the Florida Gators continuing their comeback streak against Auburn, and then on Monday night against the Houston Cougars to win the national title?
I mean, it made it fun. I think overall, we had the 4 best teams in college basketball. I think that was clear. A lot of people were sort of upset. They wanted, I guess, more upsets, but there weren't going to be any upsets. And I think you saw that in San Antonio. I mean, that Duke team should have won that game, but Houston makes that miraculous comeback. Florida, you just, for whatever reason, you can't stop them. I mean, they're so comfortable in those situations where they're down. If you're Houston, I think you go back and watch the film and you say, you know what, I've got that kind of lead on Florida in the final minutes, and they just win the game. They're the better team. You know what I mean? There's not a whole lot you can say kind of against that. I think they're just that good. But it was a fun ride, man, to watch Florida and what they achieved.
Yeah, and we got a real, true national title that, and teams win the national title, but we felt like one of the best teams all season long. And entering this tournament, it was like, this feels like kind of a freight train. I had picked Florida to win it. I was very fortunate to have the number 4 overall pick in our player pool, and I was fortunate that the top 3 picks were not named Walter Clayton. So number 4, Walter Clayton was sitting there for. He would have been he was my second overall player. He's number 2 on my board. Myron, he was the highest player left remaining on my board. It would have been Cooper Flagg and then Walter Clayton. But, he puts his name in the NBA draft last year. There's a lot of talk about, from Iona, the number, 69 rated transfer in the portal when he committed to Florida, the Rick Pitino line of he's slow and fat and can't shoot, but he can pass, so let's give him a scholarship. But he was thinking about the NBA and decides to return. We can talk about whether NIL era he returns and things like that, but there are certain things that happen in the course of history, Myron, that can change certain things. And Florida's sitting in this position now because, Walter decided, let me take my name out of the draft and give it one more run at Florida and see if we can win a national title.
Yeah. No, and I think Walter's a good example of, what happens to narratives that follow young players. You know what I mean? I think when you have a lot of buzz in high school, it just changes the narrative about you in college, right? And, Walter was one of those pandemic kids who didn't get the circuit, at the most crucial time of his high school career, grows up in this little small town in Florida. I think they're more known for a dude ranch than they are for basketball talent. And the other thing about Walter, he was a football player. I mean, Walter Clayton was a highly recruited football player. Going into his sophomore season, he just decided he wanted to be all about basketball. But, this is a guy who pursued his basketball dreams despite having better prospects in football. And without that exposure at the crucial point on the AAU circuit, ends up at Iona, And I think people look at that and go, oh, well, maybe he wasn't as talented. That guy probably starts at a school like Florida if he gets that opportunity to really showcase his skill level on the circuit. Then he ends up back in Florida and goes to the NBA draft, which I think that's another thing that people should really value because he got NBA workouts. You know what I mean? I think to get NBA workouts and to get real scouts and executives saying, hey, man, you could leave now and bounce around in South Dakota somewhere in the D League,
right?
Or you can go back and get better. And Walter Clayton got better.
Yeah.
And I think to me, it was the greatest decision for the Florida Gators. It was the greatest decision for his career. And it just shows that just because you enter the draft doesn't mean it's your time. And he looks really smart right now.
Yeah. Looks like he probably will end up being, or certainly could end up being, a first-round pick. One of the things that came out as well, over the year, and you wrote about it at ESPN, is, Todd Golden, seeing what he had in his team and making the switch for Walter Clayton to play point guard and be on the ball and show his skills that way to get other guys involved, leading in transition. I mean, Kelvin Sampson, one of the things he said is not allowing Walter Clayton to get out in transition and score easy buckets. And, certainly he can score. But Todd Golden moving him to point guard, it seems like that's sort of obvious and an easy decision, right? But, I don't know, at the time, were people discussing if that was the right move for Walter Clayton to be a point guard? Is that his future in the NBA? Is that the feedback he got was to play point guard? Was it, a need that you needed somebody like Walter Clayton to come in and run the point? But that decision also made a huge impact on the team because having the ball in his hands throughout the entire game almost changes the way that Florida can run their offense.
Yeah, I mean, it was a question. I mean, the biggest question about Florida, I think why they were picked to finish sixth in the SEC was they don't have a point guard. Walter's going to do it, but that's not really his position. So I think a lot of people were concerned about whether or not Florida could do that. But what I think is happening more and more in college, because you're seeing this in the NBA is just saying, give my best player the ball and let him run the offense, right? Yeah. I don't care if that's 7'4" Wemby. I don't care if that's LeBron or Jokic. The NBA is saying, I want my best player to have the ball and to run the offense. And I think that's trickling down to college. And clearly putting Walter in that position changed everything for Florida because – and Kelvin Sampson talked about this going into that game. For such a scoring threat to be also the guy running the offense, it's really hard to defend that. We're not that far removed where, when you were a point guard, you were a point guard, and that's it. And I think Todd Golden, being the analytics guru he is, just decided, I'm going to put my best guy with the ball in his hand. It's the old Bob Knight thing, right? Bob Knight was asked by the Portland Trailblazers, who had the Sam Bowie pick, hey, we need a center. And Bob Knight says, well, play Michael Jordan at center, right? Give your best player a chance to be involved, and if he's that good, it's going to help your team. So I think that's what you saw with Walter Clayton. And I think the other thing, though, is it also you got to be a likable dude for that to work. And he is, man. The way those dudes talked about him, they just love being a part of that team. They love being around him. He was such a great leader. Even though he's not the most vocal guy, he helped bring a lot of those guys together. And I think that's something we don't talk about enough in the portal.
Yeah.
You better make sure you got the right dudes in your program so that when these new faces come in, you can build that sort of instant chemistry. Because if you mess that up in those first 3 to 5 months, it's going to hurt you in March.
Visiting with Myron Metcalf from ESPN. It reminds me a little bit when we look at, Walter Clayton going from, off the ball to being a point guard in 2017. We know what, Donovan Mitchell looks like now with the Cavs, but he played off the ball. And then in 2017, Louisville's point guard got hurt, and Rick Pitino was like, oh, we'll just give the ball to Donovan Mitchell and let him create. And Louisville took off at that point, and Donovan Mitchell took off at that point, and it was like, oh, wait a minute. Why wasn't this guy on the ball the whole time? Well, they had a true point guard that could pass the ball and set guys up, and Donovan could play off the ball, but it was like, oh, wait, Donovan Mitchell with the ball in his hands, this Louisville offense is really, really good. And thinking of Walter Clayton in that regard, I'm like, putting him on the ball and letting that create because he does so many different things and get downhill and finish and knock down the three. And Mitchell obviously has a lot more bounce than Walter Clayton does.
Yeah.
But it changed so many things for that team. And I see that with this Florida team that sometimes a little tweak like that can go a long way. But you mentioned the transfer portal. There's a lot of things that have to come together. What do you look for when you see transfer portal rankings? And so we see Walter Clayton, and it's like everybody assumed he was going to go to St. John's and follow Rick Pitino, but he returns home to Florida to be closer to his daughter and be back in Florida. And he becomes the most outstanding player of the Final Four. When you look at portal rankings and different players that are going to different schools, is there anything that you look at to see okay, how does this guy fit? How does that guy fit? Because we've seen some top players in the portal not necessarily see success at that next school.
I think the first thing you look at is how do people talk about that player? Coaches, assistants, teammates, fans even. I think that matters. I think the stuff that matters in the portal a lot of times is stuff you can't see. There are really a lot of talented players. How do they work with everybody else? And I think that's more difficult. I know a coach a couple of years ago who had a highly rated prospect come to his team, and he told his guys essentially, "Hey, man, this guy is visiting us out of the portal. you all tell me what you think, right? So, they worked out with him, hung out with him during the day. And the coach told me within a couple hours, they called him and they said, hey, listen, man, this guy's really talented, but he won't work with our team. Like, it's just not going to be a fit. So I think that has to matter as well. I think there has to be a culture already established, and you got to go, okay, can this guy fit into that? So I think that's a big part of it. I think you also look for someone who has shown a certain level of maturity, man. Like, I always think if you watch a guy grow, and Walter Clayton's a good example of this, you go from his start at Iona to Conference Player of the Year to All-SEC at Florida. I mean, that dude's been on a journey, and he just continued to get better. So I think that's another thing we don't look at enough as well. Like, the guys who continue to get better every single year, well, there's got to be a reason for that versus we've seen how many dudes have we seen, man, who averaged 15 points a game somewhere, and they went to their new school and they averaged 6. And then we saw what that did to them. Like, they never planned on averaging 6 because they're a 15-point guy in their mind. Give me the guy who went from 7 to 9 to 15, because here's what I know about that dude. He's okay averaging 7 if it helps the team because he did it before. But that guy who's been averaging 15, he might hurt your team if all of a sudden he doesn't get the ball.
It's interesting. Yeah, I didn't look at it like that. That's a fascinating way and view. And I mean, locally, we like talking about the local kids here as well. Like the number 2 kid in the transfer portal ranking, depending on which when you look at it, Bennett Sturts from Drake and Northwest Missouri State, and from Liberty, and that's a guy that D2 grew, was number 2 MIAA All Conference, a second team I should say MIAA All Conference last year, and then was the Player of the Year and an All American at the Division I level. Like, who the hell's at the MIAA last year where he's a second team player and now he's an All American, and somehow Myron Iowa got him. I'm not sure how he transferred. I have no idea how that happened, but Iowa got him, which is great stuff. Visiting with Myron Metcalf from ESPN. We saw 2 teams that were incredibly battle-tested and could just survive haymakers and heavyweight fights that were thrown at them. And we saw a Duke team that there were questions about what happened if there was game pressure at the end of the game. And Kelvin Sampson said they just wanted to put game pressure to see how Duke would respond. Where do you fall in the conversation about whether conferences can prepare a team for the tournament, or if a conference hurts a team that you just get beat up through the conference? It sort of depends on which, however your team ends up playing, what they look like in the tournament. But was this a matter of Houston and Florida won 5 games and had some comebacks and got there some late game execution to be in the championship game because they played in the 2 best conferences and they probably were the 2 best teams out of those 2 best conferences?
Yeah, I actually don't buy any of that, right? Because the SEC and Big 12 clearly helped them, right? I mean, playing that competition. But, Cooper Flag and Duke are up by 9 with 91 seconds to play, right? So my challenge with what we do in the media is we have this like little punch bowl full of cliches we like to throw out there when it's convenient. Because guess what, man? I was there on press row in San Antonio. And with 91 seconds to play, nobody told me that Duke wasn't ready for this. Nobody. I was there at the game. And no one ever said, hey, here we go. All of a sudden, the ACC is going to be their downfall. No. So I don't think it's fair. They played really, really well. They just lost to a Houston team that had lost 1 game since November 30th, right?
Yeah.
So this is a seasoned group of guys. One of their top players is a 6-year senior, a bunch of veterans. I think the bigger story is, as much as we spent the last 20 years talking about the one-and-done era, 2 teams have been led by freshmen and won a national championship. One of those teams had Anthony Davis, a future Hall of Famer. The other team had the comeback kids at Duke with Tyus Jones and Jahlil Okafor. Bro, we are going on 20 years of one-and-done teams led by one-and-done stars, not winning national championships. How about it's just experience? Like, how about if you have guys who are in their 3rd, 4th, 5th year, they probably have an advantage in the situation that they've seen compared to a team full of freshmen. As good as Cooper Flag is, as good as Con Knipple is, as good as Kaman Malawach is, those guys had never been on that stage with a team that had punched back, and now you got to close the show. And I think what I could see from press row was you saw them freeze up. Like Duke all of a sudden was saying, Cooper, go into the phone booth and save us. And Cooper was going, we got to do this together. Meanwhile, you look at Houston, And those dudes are like, man, we're 23, 22 years old, man. We've seen this 8 times already.
Yeah.
We've been here 8 times already.
In the last 2 months.
We're not afraid. Yeah, we're not afraid. So I think we use that stuff when it's convenient with conference to conference. Duke was the undeniable number 1 team at the end of the year. I think everyone agreed with that. And then they just looked really young in the last 91 seconds of that game.
Yeah, I do love as well that 2015 Duke team that won the national title is a one and done with those players you talked about, Tyus Jones and Okafor and Justice Winslow was there. And they had a kid come off the bench, a scrappy little player that nobody had ever heard of in the championship game to score 16 points and play 21 minutes. This 5-star kid named Grayson Allen. The scrap. Yeah. Where's this guy come from? Wow, Duke's just they're knocking off Wisconsin. This kid scored like 7 points in the tournament so far. And who's he? Oh, like the 12th player in America. That's who he is.
Exactly.
that was the kid that came off the bench to play 21 minutes and score 16 that we now know as Grayson Allen. It's my annoyance in looking back when Missouri lost to UConn in the Elite Eight, and it's like, they had some freshman come off the bench, some scrappy little guy nobody had ever heard of named like Kemba Walker or something, that all of a sudden scored like 24 in the game. It's like, where's this guy from? Of course, Oh, it's Kemba Walker. Visiting with Myron Metcalf from ESPN, our guest. All right, I'll ask you a few quick ones here. How many national championships for Todd Golden?
Ooh, I mean, it's 39.
Yeah.
I'll put it at 2. I mean, I think it's just hard to win multiple in this era, but
it's 39.
2 seems pretty easy.
Yeah. No, I'm with it. I think there's probably multiple if he's already doing that. His adjustments were pretty fantastic throughout the tournament. He's not just a recruiter that throw the ball out there. He figures some things out, so...
Yeah, but he'll probably go to the NBA at some point, right? I mean, a dude like that is probably his next bet is probably following the Billy Donovan track more than staying in college.
Well, then he's got to win one next year if he's just going to follow Billy Donovan. He's got to win back-to-back to really show that you're good enough. You passed Billy Donovan since the tournament expanded for being the youngest coach, and now you win back-to-back. That's what you got to do. Who's the next coach to win their first national championship?
Kelvin Sampson. I mean, that team
I hope, man.
Next year can be very, very good. Really great recruiting class. I think he's got the pieces to get right back to this point again with maybe a little more offensive firepower. I'll say Kelvin Sampson.
All right. And then who wins the national championship next year? You may have answered it there, but I'll ask you who wins the national. I'll let you know the last 2 years. I went back and looked, Myron. In 2023, at the end of that tournament, after UConn won, you picked Purdue to win the national title the next year. And mind you, they were coming off a first-round loss to a 16 seed. Yeah. And you picked them to win the national title. They played in the national championship game, so well done.
Yeah.
And then last year you picked Duke to win the national championship this year, and they were a minute and a half away from at least playing for the national title. So I'll say 2 for 2 in picking essentially a national title caliber team. So who you got for next year?
So if I pick you, you're going to get close, but then your heart's going to be broken at the end of it, basically, right?
Whoever you pick, I will put in the Final Four, but not win the tournament. That's what I'm going to.
Just don't pick Kansas, Myron. Just don't pick Kansas.
Oh, you'll take a Final Four. Come on.
Yeah,
come on.
You would.
How about Myron? How about the Kansas fan that's like, oh, I don't want to go to a Final Four if we lose it.
Yeah, how about that?
We've seen too many of that.
Like I always tell you guys, you guys are the program with 4 Porsches in the garage, and then someone's like, hey. Sorry, you got to take the BMW SUV today. I apologize.
Myron, it's been fun as a Chiefs fan and a KU fan, kind of letting everyone in Kansas City feel what it's been like to be a KU fan, where the refs are always on your side. Everyone hates you. You win too much. And,
See, that's the thing, Myron, is like, I think the refs help out the Chiefs is BS, but it's 100% true with KU. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you all are like, wait, I can't believe someone just brought me tap water to drink. I've never had this before. Good to see how the other side lives. How the other side lives. I'll pick Houston again, I guess.
All right.
Just because I think, I could see them getting back, but that was hard to watch. I mean, for a guy Kelvin Sampson's age, man, knowing he's not going to get that many more shots, that's hard. That's a heartbreaker.
Yep. I love Kelvin Sampson. I hope he wins a national title. I was rooting for them on Monday night to win the national title, even though the pocketbook ended up being better with Florida winning it. But I would like to see Kelvin Sampson win one in his time. Myron Metcalf from ESPN. Myron, great stuff as always. Really appreciate the time and the season. It was so much fun talking with you, and already looking forward to catching up, periodically, and then another season next year, man.
Sounds good to me.
Absolutely. There's Myron Metcalf. Great stuff from him. You can hear him right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB on the weekends as well.
I was gonna say, we don't drink tap water, but we will use it to like put ice in and then dump our face in the bowl of ice water.
Is that right? That's
so,
what you...
Now, we might do that. We usually use like the very fancy frou-frou water.
Dylan, being a KU fan, is walking through the desert and needs water, and then it's like, hold on.
Aquafina?
This is not this Aquafina?
Gross.
Is this great value?
We're good.
Did you bring this from, you bought this at what?
I'll try the sand.
You know what? I'll take my chances.
This Culligan I'm crushing right now is pretty darn solid.
I'll take my chances that there might be another water spout, another 200 yards or so down the road. I see this hill, and over the hill, who knows? Might be water. I know there's water here, but who knows what's over the hill? It might be water as well.
Better water.
Myron, don't pick KU
Boat's
because who you pick to win the national title the next year hasn't won it. They only go to the Final Four, play in the national championship game.
What an awful life that would be.
I know. Pick Missouri. Come on.
But in reality, one of the worst games I've ever watched was Villanova national semifinal. So
in
that
18?
Final Four, I will say we will not.
It didn't happen, so you're good.
That's also
according
true.
to the NCAA, that never happened.
That's right.
So you're good.
They were playing on air in the game and now in reality as well.
Let's erase that from your mind. That thing never actually happened. Villanova was playing against air. That's why they made so many threes. It's because nobody was actually guarding them in that game. It's weird, according to the NCAA. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, heading up until 2 o'clock. Sports or Leisure comes our way at 1 o'clock. $25, Johnny Tavern, we're giving away for Sports or Leisure. Got some Rawls questions, got some college basketball questions, got some Masters questions on there as well. So that comes up at 1 o'clock for some Sports or Leisure. Thank you to Myron Metcalf from ESPN, breaking down the NCAA tournament and what took place. And he's got 2 championships in his career for Todd Golden. But also a good point, and like this guy's 39, and doesn't he feel like he's an NBA coach at some point in his career? I think that's probably right. I think if Bill Self had got to Kansas, you know what? Check that. If Bill Self had been at, let's say, Florida, trying to think of another school like that, Maryland, had been at Maryland and was there as a 37, 38-year-old, because Todd Golden got the job as a 36, 37-year-old at Florida, and Bill Self gets a job there at like Maryland or something. I guess Illinois probably works too before he took the damn Kansas job. Yeah. Hey, jackass. So he wins a national title at Illinois, and then he doesn't leave for Kansas because, hey, I won a national title here. I'm not going to jump and go to Kansas. Is he an NBA coach? Like, because there was so much talk about Bill Self, and it's like before he hangs it up, he's going to be on an NBA sideline one day. Like that guy's wanted to be in Oklahoma City. When that job opens up, he's going to be a Thunder coach. Or how long have we been talking about the Spurs, because of RC and the relationship there with Bill? Like, we've been talking about it for a long time. But now, at Bill's age, and a couple of years ago with the heart problem, and what feels like there's a renewed energy, as he's talked about, in college basketball, I mean, I don't know that the NBA is around the corner for him. Where I think if Bill Self was a 39-year-old national championship winning coach at Illinois, you might be a 50-year-old NBA coach for Bill Self.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call.
Like Todd Golden.
He did feel like an NBA coach at one point.
Sort of felt like the common opinion was like he's going to be on an NBA sideline before it's over.
But now you kind of see that he, I don't want to say struggles, but in this new era where people are being paid and you have to manage egos and also build a team based off of those egos.
But it's also like a yearly building of the team as opposed to like, well, I got this guy under contract for a long time. We drafted Luka. We're going to have him for like 15 years unless the GM trades him for no reason. For a 34-year-old and a first-round pick.
Oh, my goodness.
I honestly, though...
Who gets fired? Sorry, Sterling. Who gets fired first? The New York Giants front office or the Dallas Mavericks front office?
Mavs.
Oh, boy. I mean...
Because, I think the Mavs is way worse than Saquon, but if Luka doesn't win a title in Los Angeles...
I think
this year. I mean, think about Saquon winning it this year and then the John Mara Hard Knocks, all that stuff that will play forever on the internet.
It's so much worse than the Giants. Like, it's so much worse than the Giants because Saquon's an awesome player, and he helped the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
Division rival.
But, was he one of the, 4 or 5 faces of the NFL?
No.
Where that was Luka, and it was like, you've got your next Dirk, and how beloved Dirk was, and Dirk finally winning one there in Dallas. And Luka's going to do the same thing, and they're going to put a team around Luka eventually that he's going to win a championship there in Dallas. And then that's the guy you trade. And
he almost did it last year without the pieces.
Like there's an element where I do wonder if you're the Mavericks, do you fire Nico or do you go out of your way to not fire him? Because if you immediately fire him, well then what's the point of trading Luka? So you allowed this guy to be your GM, you signed off on the deal to trade Luka, and then you fired him. So this GM comes in and trades a franchise player for a 34-year-old and a first-round draft pick, and then you fire him 5 months later. Well, then you just gave away Luka and a guy who was the face of your franchise and one of the biggest names and athletes in your city for a guy that you end up firing 5 months later. It's like you just gave it away. It's like and that's the thing about front office and coaches and everything. We and players that are in college, we hear all the time, well, these guys care more than you. Okay, these guys are way more heartbroken in college. They are way more hurt for losing than you are. Okay, those Kansas players in the round of 32 were way more heartbroken and hurt and crying and devastated than any Kansas fan was in losing to Arkansas. So they care. They care about winning that game and put more in it than you. Agreed. But they move on. I don't. They move on somewhere else. My fandom stays.
Yeah.
These guys with the Chiefs or Scott Pioli or whoever, they move on. I don't. Longtime Mavericks fans. Mahomes was in attendance last night. Longtime Mavericks fans. Nico will be somewhere else in his career. He will not be the GM of the Dallas Mavericks in 30 years. But the Mavericks fans out there last night will be Mavericks fans in 30 years. So the GMs come and go. And for a GM to be there and trade away somebody that meant that much to the franchise for what could be sort of building in a couple of years and having your guys around you and then moving on somewhere else, like, dude, I'm not going anywhere. You're going to go take another job somewhere and do something else and get fired. You just traded away one of the identities of this entire organization and franchise.
To your point, how much the franchise meant to the player.
Yes.
Like usually you
good
see
God,
that.
he was tears. He wasn't just choked up. There were tears coming out of his eyes.
And he said, like, oh, it won't be a big deal. So you knew that all week it was a big deal, and he was trying to
100%.
downplay it.
And he scores 31 in the first half. Drops 31 in the first half.
Well, and I was saying the sources I had said that there was a GM out there that was willing to give up 7 first-round draft picks for Luka Doncic, and that was the return. It's not even the fact that you traded Luka. It's the fact that the return was what it was.
And the fact that you only offered it to one team.
It's
like there's got to be an investigation somehow, some way as to why you only offered it to the Lakers, and that was it.
It's almost as if, I mean, the Chris Paul trade to the Lakers didn't happen for less.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the Chris Paul.
Well, and that was
originally.
because you had the NBA
they had
commissioner
an ownership interest in
100%. But if the NBA had ownership or interest in the Mavs, zero chance this one goes through.
I agree.
And what's so frustrating is, at least if you are a Mavs fan, you trade Luka because you think he's a little pudgy. Yet you look at Anthony Davis, who's perpetually injured. At some point, it's just ridiculous. The best player in the NBA is Nikola Jokic, little sturdy. Like I don't understand that was their talking about was, well, we have concerns about his weight and how he's gonna age. Okay, so you trade for the old guy who's already injured. What are you doing? I don't know, man. I was beside myself. I'm not a Mavs fan. I don't care. This doesn't affect me at all.
Yeah.
But just as an NBA fan, as a fan of a team that's not the Lakers, like the Royals would be like, this would be like if the Yankees traded for Bobby Witt Jr. and gave back Giancarlo Stanton and Volpe. And you're like, what? Or if the Chiefs would have, at the time, it would have been maybe Patrick Mahomes to
Jamal Charles. Like Jamal Charles, when he first started playing awesome football for like a third-round draft pick or something, and it's like, hold on, this coach or like that's because it can't be Mahomes. Yeah. I don't think it could be Mahomes because Mahomes is the face of the NFL and is one of the best we've ever seen.
Luka's damn close.
I agree.
He's top 5 in the NBA.
I agree. I mean, it might be like Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow is probably the answer because that's another smaller market team.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas
Lamar
is not
Jackson.
Small market, but
yeah, it might
they
be.
say, hey, we can't do this. We can't win running the football all the time with our quarterback. We're going to move on and try and get someone that's a more pocket passer. Like that would be.
Well, and the thing is, like, when I say, like, man, will there be an investigation into this trade one day? Who knows? But like, I asked the question, like, why was it only offered to one team?
30 for 30 at least will be made.
But my answer, if I'm guessing or theorizing, why it's only offered to one team is because Nico wanted Anthony Davis specifically.
Yeah.
Because they've had a relationship since Anthony Davis was like a sophomore in high school. Because Nico was an executive at Nike, and they wrapped their arms around Anthony Davis and Nike. Remember when the shoe companies had a big hand in where players went? Nike schools, Adidas schools, Andrew Wiggins, Nike school, parents Nike, Nike AAU, Nike his whole life chooses Adidas and Kansas, and then he goes to the NBA and doesn't choose Nike.
Like, think about those tournaments they used to have, the EYBL, Nike
man.
Summit, where like all the Nike high school AAU
The
teams
Jordan
would be.
brand game as opposed to the McDonald's All-American game. It was like, well, yeah, why is this guy a McDonald's All-American but he's not in the Jordan brand game? Oh, because his AAU team was Adidas, so he's not invited to the Jordan brand game. Well, Jordan brand game's it's the second best All-American All-Star game. Yeah, but if you're not a Nike guy, you're not getting invited to the Jordan brand
ESPN,
for the most part.
It's like a patch. Like they had the McDonald's patch, then you had the Jordan patch next to your like ranking.
So like Nico has this relationship with Anthony Davis since, sophomore, junior in high school, probably past sophomore, because Anthony Davis went crazy from like sophomore to when he grew, from like a shooting guard to a center and grew to like 7 feet. So when he became like one of the top recruits in America and that relationship with Nike grew, it grew with Nico. So like, is he just a guy that's like putting together his team of his guys? Kyrie's my guy. Anthony Davis is my guy. So I'll trade Luka because I want my guys around me that I like and I have relationships with, and we'll try to win a championship here because it's my guy. And then when I'm fired, I go away, and the Mavericks fans are left with the remnants of Luka being a Laker and Anthony Davis being a 34-year-old often injured player and Kyrie recovering from an ACL, and you're hoping that they can put together something next year as a team.
I hated seeing injuries, and it's brutal to watch.
Yeah.
But when Anthony Davis got injured in his first game, it was just too.
Everybody knows it was like two on.
It was too on the nose, almost 2 on the nose.
Right. It was too much of like, okay, that's that.
You're just like, of course.
Yeah. That tracks. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Kind of like close to a Charles Haley trade.
Yeah.
Like when Charles Haley was with the 49ers, they won 2 Super Bowls, and they traded him to the Cowboys who then won 3 Super Bowls and beat the Niners in 2 straight championship games. And they traded Charles because him and the coach were not getting along, because Charles, as he's come out and said now, had a lot of personality issues and things that he's had to work with mental health. But even the coach nowadays says, yeah, I traded him was the first mistake. Where I traded him was the second and biggest mistake.
Giants not signing Saquon was a big mistake. Where he ended up going added to that big mistake of not signing Saquon and paying the money to Danny Dimes.
Like, we're going to trade him to the Lakers. Why not trade him to the Charlotte or anyone that's terrible?
Anthony Davis. That's my theory. If we're saying he only wanted to trade, he only offered that trade to one team, and it was for Anthony Davis. It's been his guy for. When was it? Anthony Davis was a freshman in 2012. So 2011, 2012. So he was a senior in 2011. So you're going back 15 years relationship with Nico and Anthony Davis to like 2010. Wants him on his team. He's a GM now. I want Anthony Davis. That's my guy. All right. What's it going to take? Luka? I don't really like him. I don't know that I want to pay him the money anyways. He's kind of overweight. The guy's drinking, and I'm trying to get the beer out of his hands. He's doing interviews with alcohol in his hands. That's not what we do around here. He just
that made me hate the Mavs right there.
Just doesn't match the profile.
You take a man's beer after doing that?
Yeah,
no.
Just doesn't fit the profile that we have around here. So, yeah, Luka, great. I'll trade Luka. That's great. Oh, we're going to get a first round or 2 with Anthony Davis? Hell, yeah. People are going to love this trade. Wait till they announce this. Woo-hoo. That did not go well. Fire Nico chants while the fans were celebrating Luka being taken out of the game for the final time after dropping 48 on the Mavs, 31 in the first half, and the Lakers' teammates jumping around and celebrating with Luka on the sideline when he was taken out with a minute to play while the crowd is chanting, "Fire Nico, fire Nico." PA announcer couldn't do anything at that point. He tried multiple times last night. In the middle of one of the louder Fire Nicos, the PA announcer gets up there, "Let's go Mavs! Let's go Mavs! Let's go Mavs!" Shut up. Not happening, man. Not that they put on the NBA code of conduct at games, like on the Jumbotron multiple times throughout the night, because please do not chant "Fire Nico." How about don't tell us what to do? We paid to be here. All right, we paid to be here, and that guy's going to leave and be somewhere else, and Luka's never going to be a Mav again. And
he won't be a GM again. I'll tell you that much.
I can't imagine he would be. So there's almost an element to where if you're the owners, you're like, we can't fire Nico. Like, we got to say, no, we've got a longer term plan, and we're not reactionary that, oh wait, that was a huge mistake for Luka trading him. We're firing this guy. Well, hold on. You would have signed off. There's no way he trades Luka without your blessing. There's no way that happens. The Chiefs ain't trading Patrick Mahomes without Clark Hunt's blessing. It's not going to happen. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue Rolling More Zone next. Leisure coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. Masters continue going on in the opening round. Leading 4 under is Tyrell Hatton. Morikawa, Scotty Scheffler, Justin Rose sitting 3 under right now. Morikawa with an eagle to get to 3 under. There you go. A couple shekels on Morikawa to win. We'll see what happens with that. So.
I love they have one group, which is Akshay Bhatia, Rory McIlroy, and Ludwig Oberg, because those 3 dudes just absolutely pipe the ball. They're probably like, okay, let's get like the 3 longest drivers so that we don't have to wait for someone who's 30 yards back of these dudes.
It's a good idea, though.
I just thought that.
Group players together.
I wonder if you have the three of the longest hitters on tour together, so that way you're like, okay, no one's going to be 30 yards back of these guys.
Yeah. By the way, listening to Myron Metcalf talk about, when I asked him about what do you look at in the transfer portal and like sort of an assessment from that, and he said, you try to hear what other coaches and maybe players say about a player. Some of that could be certainly sour grapes or along those lines, but how they fit, what the conversation is, and then told the story about, a guy that was being recruited, worked out, and they're like, it's just not going to fit. Doesn't really fit with this team, and so they moved on. I didn't bring it up with Myron, and I'm not going to say the name, but there was a player being recruited.
Who?
Not going to say
name
the name.
Him.
Not going to say the name. There's a player being recruited. Wasn't a local school. Player being recruited was a top 50 player in the country on his campus visit, on the official visit, and then the official visit was cut short, and then news came out that school was no longer recruiting that player. The story behind that is said recruit stole from one of the other players on his official visit.
Yo.
They ended the official visit, go home. You won't be getting a phone call from us. That guy played Division I basketball for 4 years. Played for a big-time program. Played in a big conference. Again, top 50 player. Just wasn't going to go to that school at that point. Like, why would they end the official visit like a day early and then immediately say they're not going to recruit him anymore? That's odd. Like, did he ask for money? Was it, we're not going to do that. You ask for money, you're gone, okay? Get out of here, okay? You just leave. I'm not going to pay you. I'm Petey Bell. The best players money can buy. The best players money can buy, I think, is what the BYU's putting together next year, actually. They might be putting together the best team money can buy. Sports or Leisure next. 913-381-0810 is the phone number to play a little sports or leisure. 913-381-0810. First in, first on. Winning $25 to Johnny's Tavern for a little sports or leisure. We continue to give you updates on the Masters round 1 with Tyrell Hatton still leading at 4 under through 12.
He's on my player pool, baby.
Is he?
I know ball.
Lonzo? LaMelo?
Scotty Scheffler for Eagle on the 13th.
He's LeVar. He's never lost.
I knew that.
Never lost.
Undefeated. Never lost.
Okay, I don't know where Scotty was putting. He was putting for Eagle, and I don't see a hole near his ball. Not great.
913-381-0810 is the phone number. Let's play some sports or leisure. One more hour to go. $25 to Johnny's Tavern. Here's how you play. You give us a call. Again, 913-381-0810. And then you answer a sports question and a leisure question. We just ask you sports or leisure to start. You know what I mean? You get them both right, you win. Either of them wrong, you lose. But the question is out there available for someone to call in and request if they know the answer to it. Maybe they've Googled it. I don't know. It's up to them. We give out the right answer when it has been answered correctly, or we have simply run out of time to play. That's how you do that. That's how you play. The categories for sports or leisure. You know, we got some leftovers from opening day for the Royals from a couple of weeks ago. So we got some leftovers from that. And then we also have the Masters, and we have college basketball. So we've got a few in the category of the Masters and a few in the category of college basketball, and some leftovers from Royals opening day. What say you, Sterling? What do you have on the docket with your different categories, sir?
In honor of the Masters, we have Let's Go Golfing.
Let's do it.
Only a few in the Let's Go Golfing category.
What's Let's Go Golfing about? What do you do?
Golfing.
You just actually go and golf with somebody, and
actually,
if
first person to
they
call
win
in
the hole,
says, you buy me a round of golf, we'll leave right now.
So this is gonna be a long game because they have to win the hole for you to move on to sports.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to get back to you eventually.
So let's go golfing. Golf questions.
Okay.
We have potpourri as always, and we still have a few left of Name That Stadium.
All right. That's how
Baseball
we do it.
stadiums.
Okay, very good. That's good to know. Name that stadium. He's going to go golfing with you. And potpourri. We've got some opening day. We've got some Masters, and we've got some college basketball as well. I'm ready to go. Sterling, you feeling good about it?
I am feeling good about it.
Hey, Dylan, what say you? Oh, yeah. I like that one. Yeah, that's good. All right, Dylan's pumped, man. Ready to go. Everybody's excited. Everybody's feeling good on this Thursday. Masters going on. Everybody's feeling good, feeling grand, feeling wonderful. All right. 913-381-0810. Let's go ahead and get it started, get it rolling. Avery leading us off here on this Thursday edition of the show. Avery, welcome in. Sports or leisure, sir?
My curiosity's killing me. Like a cat would be killed by the curiosity. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good. Oh, by the way, Avery, nice job on the feud.
Oh, thank you.
Well done. Avery won the feud. If you weren't, aware, a couple Wednesdays ago, I guess that would be.
Yeah, I call in like once a year on the feud.
Well, and you won. So there you go. Nice job.
Proud of you.
Big winner. That means we got to get you today. We got to get you today.
Well, I think you will. I'm not feeling great about these categories. I'll do the stadiums with Jim Rome.
That guy.
Romey. All right. It was ranked as MLB's best ballpark in a 2008 Sports Illustrated fan opinion poll, and it's probably my least favorite ballpark that I personally have been to. As of 2024, the official seating capacity is listed as 34,631 people, making it the smallest MLB stadium by total maximum capacity. It is illuminated by 19 white vertical light towers, 3 behind the scoreboard, 6 behind first base, 6 behind third base, and 4 in right field, which stand 200 feet above street level. They are said to resemble oversized toothbrushes. Left field has a 19-foot high wall known as the Little Green Monster.
This was 2008 was voted, because I know what it is now.
Yeah.
This was voted as like the best ballpark in 2008.
Yeah, they were wrong. I don't know. Maybe they'd only been to one ballpark.
I mean, okay, but there's not like a weird Marlin feature in center field you want to talk about?
There is not.
Nope.
That is not there.
Nope.
All right, it's voted good.
Voted good.
In 2008.
2008.
It has, again,
so the Twins ballpark would be there. But 34,000. Who's building a new stadium with that small of a capacity?
34,000 people. 19 vertical white light towers said to resemble oversized toothbrushes. And the easiest hint, there is the left field wall, which is 19 feet tall, which is known as the Little Green Monster.
I don't know. I'll just say the Twin Stadium.
You were in the right
division. But the wrong
right
team.
Division?
Right division, wrong team. So,
then
so there you go.
Detroit Tigers
ballpark. Oh, that's 0 for 2. 0 for 2. Yes, Avery, well done. You know what? You were right about one thing. You were right that you were not going to win today. So how about that? So
I'm going nowhere.
Thanks.
Shout out Avery.
He's the man, dude. Yeah.
I thought Little
It's
Green
0 for
Monster
1.
was going to give it away for Avery. I thought Little Green Monster was because I did this with you, and I said that, and you go, oh, yeah, boom.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking of I didn't know it was called that. I was thinking of 19-foot walls
in left field
of stadiums. I'm like, all right, yeah.
And the 19 toothbrushes.
Well, I didn't realize that. I don't know what the 19 has to, but the 19-foot wall and the 19 toothbrushes, there's got to be something with 19.
They love 19.
Maybe it was 1919 or something like that. I don't know. Let's go to Chuck next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Chuck, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Let's start with leisure.
Do you want that one about the baseball stadium or a new question?
I will go with that one. I'm pretty sure I know. It's in a division. I know it's not Costa. I know it's not Chicago. So it's got to be Cleveland. That's all that's left. Really.
It is Cleveland. Yes, it is the it is Cleveland. The Little Green Monster in left field, 19 feet. I don't know why people loved it in Sports Illustrated in 2008. It was my least favorite stadium I've been to. I've been to probably 10-ish, 12, and not a huge fan. Not a huge fan of Cleveland.
I'm going in August, so I'll give you a report back.
It's not bad. No, it's not bad, and you can walk in from downtown. It's cool from street level, but the reason why I say this is because it's half new and then half old, so they couldn't figure out what they tried to be. Either you have to lean into the old or lean into the new, and it almost felt like they just didn't understand which way to go.
I went there.
That was my interpretation.
I went there the first year it opened up when it was the Jake. And
still the Jake.
Yeah, is it still the Jake? I don't even know what it's called now, but it's always going to be the Jake. You're right about that. The tickets we had were in the last row in right field, and our back was to the chain link fence, and behind that fence was Cleveland, and a very, very steep drop, and there was a very uncomfortable Jason for the entire game. Although Griffey did hit a home run. Because the Mariners were playing in Cleveland that day. So I did see Griffey hit a home run there in that first year that it was open. So, I got that going for me, and I didn't fall off the top row of the Jake.
Which is nice.
It was very nice. I'm glad that happened at least. Their first championship, Cleveland, was in 1920. So wouldn't 20 feet tall or 20 light towers
now, did the season start in 20, go to 21, or was it a 19?
No, just 1920 was their first major league title.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe it's 19 that's what, or what was it, 19 or 16?
No, it was 19 feet and 19 light towers.
Maybe
so I don't know.
An homage to
maybe they
1900s.
Maybe they ran out of money. Maybe they were like, let's do 20 of these. We don't have space. We'll leave it at 19. It's fine.
That also sounds like Cleveland.
Nobody will know. Yeah.
At least we're not Detroit.
Yeah, and oddly enough, they're toothbrushes. Why does it? What is that with Cleveland with toothbrushes? Be the opposite. All right. So on the sports side, we've got some Royals opening day left over. We got the Masters, and we got some college basketball.
Geez. Let's go with opening day.
All right.
Guess I'm a baseball guy.
So let's do it.
That.
You know what? Since this one we just brought this up the other day and had some fun with this with Les Norman in here with us. Since Danny Tartable ended his time in Kansas City after starting 5 straight years in right field, there have been 2 different players to start 3 consecutive years in right field. Name either of the players that had a 3-year stretch starting opening day in right field.
Oh, geez. It's been a turnstile out there.
Yeah. Sterling got one of them. Sterling was well done. That was the first name that you named on Tuesday, Sterling. So congratulations on that one.
I like this.
And you're not even French descent either. So, but you knew it right away.
Francoeur.
Well, how'd you get that quick? That was crazy. Jeff Francoeur is one of them, 2011, 2013. And the other one was Jermaine Dye from 99 to 2001. Yeah. So Danny Tartable, and then Jermaine Dye and Jeff Francoeur, and then a bunch of other just random.
I've assigned Jeff Francoeur a bat, and I was so excited because it was right when he got to Kansas City, and we all thought he was going to be the next greatest player. And now it's almost, he was fine, but now it's almost fun because it's not like it's Hosmer or Salvi. It's a Jeff Francoeur signed bat. Now it's fun.
Absolutely. How about Renfroe next year, tying the record? Tying Dye and Jeff Francoeur when Renfroe starts in right field next year. Just joking about that. Chuck, that's a winner. We will put you on hold, and you get to talk to Dylan. Congratulations. Well done. We'll get your information here. You're welcome. 913-3810810. I think we'll have another streak starting next year. Anybody object to that in right field? Another opening day streak for right field starting, that we won't have 3 in a row. We won't have a Jermaine Dye, Jeff Francoeur, Hunter Renfroe since Danny Tartable.
Mark Tien.
Mark Tien's run was just fantastic. It's fantastic. It was a great run for Mark Tien, being a guy that started all those years in a row at different positions. It's great stuff for him. All right, 913-3810810. We go to Josh next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Josh, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Do sports.
All right, we've got some opening day questions still. We got college basketball, and we have the Masters.
Masters, please.
All right, so we played the story that ESPN put together that was roughly 5 minutes long or so of the 2005 Masters and the hole 16 chip in by Tiger Woods. He would go on to win that one, we know. What number green jacket was that for Tiger?
Third.
What number green jacket was that for Tiger?
2005. Was that his third?
What number green jacket was that for Tiger?
For Tiger. What number green jacket was that for Tiger?
And I wouldn't say the same number.
For Tiger.
Nope. 2005. Fourth one.
Yeah, it was his fourth one. Well done. Nice job. It was his fourth one. What are the odds of that? Fourth one. He won in 97 when he burst onto the scene, and then he won back-to-back in 01 and 02.
Yeah.
And then in 2005.
I got 02.
Yeah. And then that 14-year stretch where he did not win another green jacket until 2019 with that phenomenal run to win that one. So, that was his fourth green jacket of 5 total for him. On to leisure with Sterling.
We have named that stadium for baseball stadiums. We have Potpourri, and then we have Let's Go Golfing.
Let's stick with the golf. Let's go golfing.
All right. That's probably the easiest one. What do you call getting a 2 on a par 5?
And oh my God, why did it just?
Oh, you were on the right track.
Oh, you
said
it.
Wait a minute.
An albatross.
Yeah, I was going to say it's
yes.
Renfroe's contract.
It's an albatross.
There you go. Nice job. Well done. Albatross is correct. We'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, Josh. Here we go.
Thank
See?
you.
All I think about is Louis Oosthuizen when he had the.
All you think about?
Well, yeah.
I think about a lot of things throughout the day, but you just sit around and think about
his albatross. Yeah.
All day I dream about Louis whatever his name was.
Yeah. All you do is think about Louis Oosthuizen's albatross. That's all you think about.
It's thrice a day, probably.
I spend too much time thinking about Renfroe's albatross contract. 913-3810810. Too much time thinking about that. Let's go to Greg next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Greg, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with, sir?
Hey, let's go leisure, and let's go golfing.
All right, let's go golfing. What do they call the stretch of holes that include 11, 12, and 13 at Augusta?
Yeah.
Amen corner.
It is Amen corner.
Kind of a layup there.
That was another easy one. But
it's got some
I
layups
appreciate that.
Well, golf ones are either like, when did golf originate? 1499, which no one's going to get, or what do they call 11, 12, and 13?
1492, when Jack Nicklaus sailed the ocean bluegrass fairway.
Okay.
That's the old rhyme. Everybody knows that one. On to sports. We've got the Masters, we got college basketball, and we have some remnants of Royals opening day.
Well, I got to go Masters, right?
Let's do it then. All right. Let me see. Both these guys are playing today, so in the tournament.
Akshay Bhatia.
That's not the answer, nor is it Oberg. Let's go this one because it's been the theme of this week leading into the tournament. Rory competing in his 15th Masters without a win. The 11th time he can try to get the career Grand Slam, but his 15th tournament in the Masters, no win. Who played in the most Masters tournaments before winning one?
Oh, wow. It's a great question.
Do you the one who's played the most ever without winning one?
I don't know the answer to that one.
I believe it's Lee Westwood.
Is it?
I believe it's Lee Westwood. That's what I thought you were asking. I was so excited.
Wait.
No.
What's the question again? That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, who's played the most Masters tournament before winning one? So this player has won a Masters tournament. They have a green jacket, and they played in more tournaments than Rory, because Rory would not break the record if he won this year, or next year, or the year after that, or the year after that, actually. So this person
they've
played
won.
it.
It's not
They've
Justin
won one.
Rose because they've won, right?
They have a green jacket. That is right. And is playing today.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Is everybody teed off?
Yeah, everybody's teed off by
so.
now, but is out there.
Is
on
he
the course, right?
67?
Years old?
Yeah.
No, not like no. He's a guy that people
Okay,
have
I was thinking like Bernard Langer.
I've
or
got
something
money
who's
on him to
been-
finish in the top 10. I've got money on him to finish in the top 10.
Well, how's he playing? Is he doing good?
Let me look right now. That's a great question. I need to look up since I do have some money on him. I am tracking him on the leaderboard.
Track it up.
I don't know why that made me laugh. I almost said his name. I almost said he's even through 6. I guess that might give it away. I mean, Sterling's now going to the lead. Who's on even through 6? But you're ahead of me, Sterling. So there you go.
That's true. It might be through 7 now.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, man.
Played the most.
Oh,
do you know it now?
I assume it's.
Well, don't say the name.
No, I know.
Jackass.
Is it the guy that complained when Tiger took an iron back out of a bag?
Complained is probably a word that's representative.
He's choked on TPC 17 before, where he hit, was it back-to-back in the water?
Like a new type of weed? He choked on that TPC. Well, who hasn't? You know what I mean?
That sawgrass.
Choked on that sawgrass. You know what I mean?
Sorry, I just choked on the TPC.
Yes, that's right.
Sergio Garcia, I don't know.
Sergio is right.
Nice, yeah,
That's
Sergio.
Right. It is Sergio. Sergio played in 19 Masters tournaments entering 2017 when he won his first green jacket.
My favorite is the time when Tiger pulled an iron out of the bag, and then he got mad at Tiger because he goes, well, you knew the crowd was going to react when you took a club out of your bag. What's Tiger supposed to do? Not take a club out?
No, just take the whole bag over there and just
like,
empty them all out.
What is happening here?
Just
Sergio.
Empty them all out. Yeah, 19. So Rory's got a few more tournaments of not winning before he approaches Sergio.
You guys remember when he just spittled into the cup? I just kind of spittled.
Oh, Sergio?
Yeah, he spat in the cup.
Yes.
Classy.
It's
classy.
very, very, very classy. Is that a winner? Is that no?
That's a winner.
You started with the Amen corner, and you got
Chicken
Sergio.
dinner.
We'll put you on hold, Greg. That's 3 in a row, by the way. That's a three-peat right now. We got going 3 in a row. Greg, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely. That's called a winning streak, is what that is. And we will stop the winning streak from now. We'll put it on hold. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll see if we can continue that winning streak of 3 in a row with some leisure. I almost said Lorts. With some Lorts or some Speisure. Sports or leisure, $25 to Johnny's Tavern. We are giving away, and we will continue with more right after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Dylan Michaels. We head up until 2 o'clock. Couple more segments to go tonight. Little NBA action with Minnesota and Memphis right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. 913-381-810, playing some Sports or Leisure. We've got 3 winners in a row for Sports or Leisure. Let's reset the categories real quick. We've got some opening day questions left over from a couple weeks ago. We have the Masters and we have college basketball for the categories. What about on the leisure side, Sterling?
We have Let's Go Golfing, which are a couple golf questions. We still have a few left over from Name That Stadium, baseball, and then we have Potpourri.
Yeah, all right, there you go. 913-381-810. We go to the phone lines, and we bring in Gary, leading us off here in this segment for Sports or Leisure. Gary, Sports or Leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Well, first of all, I don't appreciate the pressure on the 4 in a row. I'm a Mizzou fan like you, Jason, so be prepared for disappointment.
Look, winning 4 in a row in the tournament is not something they do, so it's three in the door.
I look forward to losing in the round of 32 next year to like Pepperdine or something.
Hey, I'm a Mizzou alum myself, so I get it, man. It is painful.
Pain. What side do you want to start with? Let's see if we can get 4 in a row.
Can we do the leisure, the stadiums one?
All right, stadiums. Opened on March 31st, 2003, this ballpark hosted the 2015 Major League All-Star Game. They have a 35-wide break in the stands between home plate and third base called The Gap. In right center field, 2 smokestacks reminiscent of the steamboats that were common on this river. Flashlights emit flames and launch fireworks. I would focus on the 2 smokestacks. Those are very, very famous.
Mm-hmm. They are.
Oh. Well, I'm usually good on identifying stadiums. The ones you had earlier, I knew what it was right away.
Of course.
Now, this one, that's
It's a
usually
matchup.
the way it works.
Tournament's all about matchups, man.
Right. Yeah.
That other team would have won to match up in the Elite Eight. It would have been a win, but you got this one.
The 2 smokestacks, they're in right center, known as a hitters-friendly ballpark as well. Very hitters-friendly.
Are we talking about I think is it still called the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati?
It sure enough is, yes. Reds.
JBP.
I went there and saw King Griffey Jr. He hit 2 home runs, a double and a single, triple shy of the cycle.
How about that?
He fouled one off. Adam Dunn was on deck, and I was probably, 13 or so.
Yeah.
Adam Dunn handed me the ball, so now I have a King Griffey Jr. ball because of that.
That's
pretty
pretty cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Ironically, random thought, Barry Larkin was my favorite player growing up.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Went to a Reds game with the family and got 5-1 odds that we were there. It was Pete Rose Day. So it was pretty cool. No, it actually was. They gave away like Pete Rose statues and everything.
I love Cincinnati. It was a great ballpark. Great ball. I thought it was a great ballpark.
Fun. Yeah, it's pretty cool. You can do without the chili or what they call barbecue, but all good.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely gross.
Onto the sports side, we've got some Royals opening day remnants. We got college basketball and we've got the Masters.
I'll go with the opening day.
All right, very good. Let's go with this one. What player has started the most opening days in Royals history at the same position? So one particular position, they have the most opening day starts at one particular position. Like Salvi, I think, has like 7 or 8 starts at catcher.
You stole my thunder. Now that's definitely not the.
That's not. Yeah, that's not close. Yeah, so that's the 7 or 8 isn't close.
What was the question? One more time.
Which player for the Royals has started the most opening days in history at the same position?
So he's probably an older player, is my guess.
Yep, older player. Yeah. Nope, that is not.
It's also not the obvious one.
It's not what we typically call the free space for Royals history questions. It is not a free space.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, now that makes me think.
Doesn't it, though? I'm glad you're thinking.
A little bit.
The old joke. I could smell rubber burning. You were thinking. No rubber burning.
I don't feel like this is correct, but I know he spent quite a bit of his career in Kansas City, so I'm going to go with Frank White at second base.
Frank White is correct. 15 times at second base. 15 opening days at second base for Frank White. The second most, George Brett, 12 times at third.
He probably had some first base in there, right?
He did?
Yeah.
And the third most. Yeah.
Blind dart, but I'm glad I
No, you got it. Third most, Amos Otis, 11 in center field. That's the third most. So Frank White, 15 opening days at second base. And
that's a winner.
That's a winner. See, look at that, 4 in a row. You did it. Yeah. You did it. You won 4 in a row. That's going to happen this year now.
Mizzou can do it.
Yeah, well,
hopefully we can speak it into existence, but I'm not holding my breath.
Put it out there in the universe. That'd be great. Gary, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir.
I appreciate it.
See, it's 4 in a row. It's easy as that. No biggie at all. 913-381-0810 is the phone number. I need to go and look and see how many in a row for Salvi it is. Well, not in a row, but just total. It didn't have to be in a row. Just the total for Salvi. 913-381-0810, and we go to Shane next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Shane, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
Hey, guys, I want to start with sports. So let's make it 5 in a row so Mizzou can get to the championship game.
There we go. Right? Heck yeah. We're just in this mythical land we're living in. This is great. What category are you thinking?
The Royals opening day.
All right. You know what? Since I just mentioned it, let's do this. Since Salvi took over behind the plate, he's been the opening day starter at catcher every year since 2013, except for 2 years. He did not start opening day at catcher. Can you name either of the catchers that started opening day behind the plate in Salvi's stead since 2013?
Salvi's been here. Okay. Well, let's see. We had...
And it was back-to-back years, too.
Oh. I'm thinking of his backup during the World Series years. I don't think
you're on the right track. I'll say that. You're on the right track.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, if you're on the right track. If you're
I thought it was going to be the guy after.
Nope. Well, there was a guy after, but just not immediately where you went.
Yeah, because he was hurt.
The guy that Wade Davis
check,
caught in his arms, right? He caught Wade Davis,
Yeah.
World Series MVP wasn't even out there for the final out. Well, I mean, what kind of MVP can you be if you're not even out there for the final out? That's my question.
Good hair.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Every other MVP, NFL MVPs, NBA MVPs, they're out there for the final play typically. You know, this guy wasn't even in the game. He was taken out of the game. Ridiculous.
I think it's got to be Butera. Drew Butera.
Drew Butera is correct in 2018, and starting the very next year on opening day, because Salvi missed the year.
Yeah,
in 2019.
That's when he was hurt.
I thought it was Cam. I thought Cam Gallagher would have been that time. I thought Drew went to Colorado at that point. So you got more than I did.
It wasn't Butera in 2019 though. It was Butera in 18 and a different catcher in 2019.
It was Eric Kratz.
It was a light hitting catcher that played defense from like the Houston Astros type.
Martin Maldonado.
Martin Maldonado. But we didn't need to get that one right. You only got needed one of them right, and you get to head over to Leisure with Sterling for the winner for 5 in a row.
Name that stadium potpourri or let's go golfing.
We got to keep talking baseball, I think. So let's do ballparks, please.
The final ballpark that I have on this, this stadium opened in 2004. It has a reputation, again, as one of the more hitter-friendly parks in baseball. Behind center field is Ashburn Alley, named for the Hall of Fame center fielder who played for the team from 1948 to 59. A replica historic landmark lights up in the background after a home run, emitting noise. I can't say the noise because that would give it away.
Well, I'm stumped on that.
Well, Richie Ashburn was the center fielder at Ashburn Alley. You know Richie Ashburn. You don't know what? Jason?
I don't.
Yeah, come on. Dylan, you know Richie Ashburn, right? Center fielder from 48 to 59? Read a book.
I'm sitting back here shaking my head at everything he was saying.
Who doesn't know Richie Ashburn?
Read a book.
Oh, that was it. Yeah.
Who doesn't know Richie Ashburn? Okay, also a replica historic landmark lights up in the background and makes a noise. Can't say the noise because the historic landmark would give it away.
Because it rings. I'm thinking of it now. Yeah. I know you couldn't give me that hint. I hope this is right then. Well, I'm trying to think of the name of the ballpark.
You don't have to give me the name. You give me a team.
Yeah, but I can get it. Hold on. I know the team. I know the city, obviously. Is it still Citizens Bank?
Yes,
It is still.
Park in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Still Citizens
Also,
Bank.
good ballpark. Almost robbed a Zach Greinke home run in that ballpark.
You almost robbed it?
Yeah.
Were you on the field?
No, it was I was in the front row in the left field, and he was playing for Arizona. Yeah, he was in Arizona, and he ripped a double off the wall, and I was putting my hand down.
That was you.
Yeah,
we made fun of that guy for like years
back, but they were bad. Like they wouldn't have cared. It was like Odubel Herrera was their best player that time, and Michael Franco at third base. Yeah,
How about that? Very cool. You know what, Shane? That's 5 in a row. Congratulations. We'll put you on hold and get your information. Look at that. You're rolling, man.
Guys, have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
How do people not know Richie Ashburn? Come on.
I don't know. The Ashburn family didn't even know. Let's go to Tim next up on Sports Radio 810. Tim, sports or leisure? What side do you want to start with?
Let's start with leisure. Is there still the stadium?
We are out on stadiums.
Out of stadiums.
Fresh out of stadiums. We have potpourri and Let's Go Golfing.
It's like we need to build a new one.
Let's see. Let's go golfing. That time of year.
All right. Where did golf originate?
Really?
What country?
Scotland.
Scotland. There we go.
Was it a really as in like that's too easy, or really as in like are you serious?
Yeah, that's too easy.
Well, okay.
No,
then
I like
fine.
it.
Sorry.
No, I like it though.
I wanted to keep the streak going.
Let's do it. All right. On
Love
to the
streaking.
On to the sports side. We got opening day. We got the Masters, and we have college basketball.
Masters.
All right. Who was the oldest player to win the Masters? Let's go that route. Who's the oldest player to take home? What was that? I'm sorry, I was talking while you were talking. That happens a lot. What was that?
I said Zach something. I forgot. No. So, gosh, I'm thinking back in mid-'80s.
No, I honestly, I really didn't hear your question. So if you said an answer, I'm not telling you it was wrong.
I thought you were doing your nice.
No, I know that's that's my bad. I literally didn't hear what you were saying because I was talking.
I'm gonna go with Jack, the Golden Bear.
Jack Nicklaus is what you said?
Yeah.
That's correct, actually. Good. Well, I'm glad I didn't lead you astray with actually talking about. Yeah, Jack Nicklaus was 46 years old in '86 when he won.
Exactly. I remember it like yesterday.
Yeah. So as a lot of people do in '86, I remember like it was yesterday. I was 6 years old, and I remember exactly where I was at that time. Tim, we'll put you on hold to get your information. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thanks.
Absolutely. One more before we. That's going to be. Justin, last up to see if we can get 6 in a row. Justin, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Sports.
All right, we got opening day, we got some Masters, and we have college basketball.
How about Masters?
All right, we actually have 2 left. Let's go with this one. Which player holds the record for the lowest 72-hole score? Actually playing in this year's tournament as well.
Playing in this year's tournament.
Yeah, and it's fairly recent, actually.
I'll go with Scotty Scheffler then.
Scotty Scheffler. What are you saying, Sterling?
A former linebacker.
That's true.
Nickname for the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Boom! Nailed it.
It's not the same person, but he
same
might
initials.
go by the same thing. Yeah.
He also bows his wrist a ton on his swing.
Yes.
Oh,
not John Rahm. But
this is the November Masters when it was all soft. That'd be Dustin Johnson.
Yes, you're right. That's right. He was 20 under, which broke the record of Tiger and Spieth.
I don't count that one because it was in the fall.
I mean, I'm kind of with you though, but it technically is.
It
the
was
record,
because you were just throwing darts out there.
Yeah, that was exactly what they were doing, or bumps for him. We'll take a timeout. Justin, we'll put you on. Wait, hold on. That's only one, right?
Yeah, he's got to get a leisure.
Sorry, that was supposed to be my dismount.
You did a great job dismounting there.
It's my fault, but I dismounted too early. The race isn't even over. Now we lost the race. Now the horse could have won. Anyway, leisure with Sterling.
We have Let's Go Golfing and we have potpourri.
Let's stick with golf.
Yeah.
Are you a big Masters guy? You should know this then.
Well, I like the Masters. I'm not sure I'll know this. I didn't know the first one really. But
all right. If not, if you struggle, I'll give you an easy one. Hole 18 at Augusta is called what?
The final hole.
I don't know many of them. Is that White Dogwood?
No, that's too hard. We'll go with a different one.
Is it called Glory Hole?
No, it's called Holly.
My God.
And glory holes.
It's called.
It's not all smiles and glory holes with the Masters. Sometimes you have a good round, sometimes you don't.
Called Holly. All right.
Sometimes your putter isn't working. You know what I mean? Like, you never know.
All right, be precise here, since I'll give you an easier one. What are the 4 golf majors called?
Oh, my God, really?
Well, one, you better say it correctly. That's why I said it.
Oh.
Name the 4 golf majors.
Yeah. He said,
So,
name your age.
Masters, U.S. Open, PGA Championship, and the Open.
Yes.
British Open.
No!
Well, no, he said it right. He said the Open
He
first.
said it Open first. If you would have said
the
British
Open
Open first, I couldn't give it to you, but you said the Open first.
He said the Open. He said the Open. There we go. We'll put you on hold, Justin, and get your information. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely. We got to bump into another break. More Zone next. All right, wrapped up the show today. Masters coverage continues as you'll hear different updates throughout the show and the day today right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Any questions you did not get answers to, Sterling? I think there was one at least out there with the hole 18.
Holly.
Oh, I thought
that
it was just final hole.
Holly.
Or like holy, really.
It's actually not called the back nine because they don't want it to sound like backside, so they say the next 9 or the final 9.
Oh, I see.
How they don't say fan, they say patron.
Right.
Because they're a classy place.
Well, if they were smart, they would name that Holy and not Holly. What's the final hole's name, Holy? Holy McHolerson is the final hole's name. It's weird because there's so many other, like, beautiful, sort of like Southern names, and then Holy McHolerson is the final hole. A lot of people don't realize that. That's the real name. Program next.